going on vacation?
Yep. Wilmington.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll pass through. I like I said, I always just follow the, navigation, whichever way it takes me. And like I said, sometimes it'll take us West Virginia, but then other times it won't. And but does it make sense that we'd have to pass through Raleigh either way?
I mean, probably unless you catch like I-95 does not go through Raleigh, so it just sort
Okay.
of depends. But I would think you would go through Raleigh, but yeah, I could be wrong.
Okay. Well, we'll get started here. Tom, I'll let you go first since you're the first in the room. We got Shana though too. What's up, Shana? Good to see you. I know we were talking about for your question, Tom, looking at strategies to get from that like 10, 11, 12 up to 1, 2, 3. So number one, what I'd like to look at is let's take a look, and I'm going to have you screen share, and we'll look inside of Google Search Console. That's where I want to start. And we're going to look at a few things. Generally speaking, the order of events in terms of conversions is going to be number one, your CTR. How regularly are people clicking on you now where you're at? Mm-hmm. Which has a lot to do with your meta description. So that's kind of our first exposure to the traffic, meaning if we improve that, that can help us move up. If that's already pretty good, then we go, okay, well, that's maybe not the most easy part of the problem to attack. So let's go for the lowest hanging fruit. I always ask myself, what's the lowest hanging fruit that we can target to get the big results? Mm-hmm. So we'll look first, like I said, at your click-through rate, because sometimes that's some super low hanging fruit. It seems like I recall that we have looked at it maybe once before. Does that sound right?
Yeah, we've not in any depth, I don't think. But so okay. I just set it up to be like the last month or so that I've actually been ranking on the second page for Raleigh wedding photographer. Excuse me. And yeah, my CTR is not good. So I definitely know that's something to, potentially look at.
Yeah, we'll take a look. It's interesting. Raleigh, it's like 2 clicks out of 999 impressions. But then you look at, say, like, not a lot of clicks. We want more clicks than this, but I think it's interesting because this has a way higher CTR than, say, the wedding photographer in Raleigh. So we want to look at that a little bit here in a second, but I just want to kind of scope down through here a little bit. All right, let's take a look at it. So you're kind of hanging out right in there. We had that quick jump up, then a hangout right around there. CTR is a little bit low. So let's see what it's saying on Google for your CTR. If you already done, and I apologize if I've, oh yeah, cool. That's what I want to see. 37 reviews even. Love it.
Yeah, I'm not shy about hounding people for,
good for
reviews. If the people that I think will do it,
right.
Once in a while I get somebody and I'm like, I don't know that this person's we didn't vibe. Let's not ask them.
Yeah. So for your meta description, generally speaking, what we see to help very simply is speaking first person. So, hey, I'm Tom, Raleigh wedding photographer that produces, X type of images, for X type of couples, producing X type of emotional benefit. You've got the capturing candid moments for fun. So you do define the people. So you can keep it like that. You can always experiment also with the types of ways that people identify. A good way to do some research on that is just like, if you've got some clients that you have like good open communication with that would answer this, like just be like, I'm doing some research and stuff and trying to figure out how to reach people better. And I was just wondering, like, if someone asks you to like define yourself in like 3 words or so, 3 to 5 words, how would you do that? And start figuring out how they define themselves. And now, if maybe they'll say that, they'll say I'm fun and laid back. If that's what they're saying, awesome. But that's just another thing that can add. I mean, this is like, small, but this is the DNA of improving conversions. It's a small thing, but it can really matter because it's what's going to catch somebody's eye. So I'd still add in, the emotional benefit. Okay, what is the impact beyond just the photos for the people? What are they going to get out of it that's going to help them feel really excited? So first person, again, maybe even do a little bit of research, tailor the identity marker there to what maybe some of your most ideal clients would say, and then include that the emotional benefit. So that would be the first thing in terms of your meta description.
Cool.
Okay, that can have a pretty big impact. Say it again.
Oh, I was saying that, yeah, that all makes total sense. Yep.
Cool. That being said, let's go in. Another thing I want to look at, because, like I mentioned, the first thing that I usually look for is CTR, right? If we're trying to inch up towards higher and higher and higher, I go, okay, well, let's check your meta description. Let's see how the CTR is. Another thing, since we're already in Google Search Console, this is not necessarily in a particular order, but we're already inside of Google Search Console. So we'll do that first, is seeing if you're in, like, have there been some backlinks that you've gotten that just haven't been registered yet?
I don't think so. I don't think I have any that are like lingering out there that haven't hit yet. I know that I know the backlinks are somewhere that I just need to put more energy and effort into submitting, and like submitting weddings to publications and trying to get those done.
Cool. You've went through and done the like the backlinks on the backlink list?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't think I see, like, for just one, for example, would be Wedding Chicks. I don't think I see that one yet.
I don't think I've done that one. I'm writing it down.
Okay, cool. That could be a big, once it, Google finds those, that can be a big, nice bump. And it's good, to me, like, you don't necessarily need to do all of them at once, but with backlink stuff, that's like the biggest waiting game, because you kind of just have to wait for Google to find those. So the way to speed that up is, let's say you get a profile, you can have a page on your site that has links to your various places that you've been featured. Right. And then, but you just want to make sure you include text. You don't want it to just look like you're just linking out to all these different profiles from a page. You can describe that particular profile that you're linking to. It doesn't have to be 50 paragraphs long. It could be a short description, a sentence or two. And it links over to that.
So you're saying it'd be like, I'm featured on Raleigh, blah, 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 which is a great magazine that does XYZ.
You got it. Yep. And even if it's like Wedding Chicks, because this doesn't have to be visible if you don't want it to. There's not, do you really want it to? I don't know. Maybe you do, but if you don't care, I'd say just leave it, in your unlinked pages. Doesn't have to be in your navigation, but submit it to be indexed, because it's going to say, hey, Google, check out these particular pages for information.
Okay.
Another thing you can do is you can also create links for your profiles inside of a link tree. Now, this doesn't even have to be like your official link tree that you have on your Instagram or whatever. You can have a separate link tree if you're not really wanting to blast that kind of stuff everywhere. And then thirdly, you can even share stuff on like Facebook, which I personally think it's a good idea, even if you're not trying to get clients this way. If you have like a local group, like a local, Raleigh wedding, where brides are going and looking for resources and stuff, even if you've got like some blog posts that are advice articles, as long as it's not against the group rules, because you're not really soliciting, but you can go in that group and like be like, hey, I made this, I kept seeing this question, and so I made this blog post. So I hope you guys can find it helpful.
Cool. I literally wrote a post last week that's called "How to Choose a Wedding Photographer." So I will I'll look for groups to drop that in.
Yep. Yep. And it's good to make sure that it's not like going to be perceived as, something against the rules or whatever. But
Sure,
if it's really, if it's content and you're not soliciting, typically they should be okay with it. But again, that's a way, technically you can get clients that way, but it's good because that sort of sends out a signal to Google. It's not really considered like a backlink, but it's even considered a signal. So in theory, it's like, I've even seen people, I don't know that I'd want to do this, but if you had a Facebook page that you didn't really use that much, you could actually share that. Like let's say you get a wedding chicks profile, you could share that from your page. And then it's going to help them find that more quickly. But in terms of just like, even just sharing your website like that, like a blog article, that can even, again, it's just sort of building up energy for Google to like search your site more. And then you're kind of pointing to these other websites that are linking to you. And it's just going to help Google find things a lot more quickly.
Cool. That'll make sense.
How I got my blog to where it was like, if I wanted to post a blog, a lot of times it would rank in like a week, like page one. It would rank really, really, really fast. Cool. But yeah, backlinks. So backlinks, the other sort of thing. Number one, again, we looked at CTR, meta description stuff, which is 3 points that we mentioned. Backlinks is another one. From there, if you want to open up analytics, we'll get inside of analytics. Once we've kind of nailed down a couple of those things in Google Search Console, and by the way, I'm trying to explain this in detail because I do want you guys to be able to have this skill. It's fine to like rely on me, and I want you to do that, but also for the long run, like if you have this skill, it's a very, very valuable skill to have. And so it's not complicated, but that's, if you're like, why is Jeff explaining this in detail? It's so, even if like, Shanna or Andrea, just because I'm walking through this with Tom doesn't mean that you can't be learning this process, because, as the saying goes, you can feed a man a fish, feed him for a day. You can teach a man to fish and feed him for a lifetime. I really want you guys to, learn how to do the fishing. It's not necessarily hard. So let's go now into behavior. Whoops, it's acting crazy. Does not want to open for me. There we go. We'll check landing pages. And I always like to start with homepage, kind of see how the bounce rate, session duration looks on that particular page. Looks pretty good over the last 6 days here. So let's look at 30. And we'll compare to the previous period just to make sure there's nothing too wonky going on over time. Bounce rate looks great. Session duration is down, a good chunk, but it's still within tolerance. 2 minutes, 52 seconds looks pretty good. And you'll sometimes have those variations, so I'm not too concerned about it. If you got more users, which is cool, so more people finding you, it looks like. But all this looks solid, 29% bounce rate. Looks great.
Cool.
It's fantastic. And again, Shanna and Andrea, I would follow along as we do this. Just follow along, because you're going to be able to pick up some stuff and kind of notice some things that are really helpful. You may even notice like, oh my gosh, my bounce rate's terrible or something like that. So we go, okay, well, that looks pretty good in terms of how people are interacting with the homepage. Let's go down, take a look at the behavior flow real quick. And at this point, I don't think that your user experience is an issue in terms of you ranking. It should not get in the way. I really think it's mostly your CTR, meta description. Backlinks is probably even the biggest. That's probably the biggest thing, though, is right now is backlinks. Like you get a few, and we don't play the numbers game. I just showed somebody yesterday. They're wanting to rank for a particular city, and their domain authority, which is on it, just make sure everybody understands, domain authorities on a 0 to 100 scale. Most photography websites are somewhere between like 7 and 20 from what I see. The highest one I've ever seen was like 55. Now, this person had I think they had a 7 domain authority. And they were like, well, can I rank? I said, well, we've got somebody ranking in a more competitive market that has someone that is twice as competitive in domain authority as the person in your market. So in their market, they had number one photographer was a 20 domain authority. So you go, okay, she's a 7. Her main competition is a 20. In this other market, we've got a 6. Their main competition actually was like I think it was 50. It was about 50. And yet she's ranking over them. Now, why am I sharing this? Well, because I don't want anybody to overdo backlinks. These websites that have the higher domain authority have tons of backlinks because that's one of the ways that they focus, because that's been one of the ways over time that Google does look at how much can we trust this site. But I've said, based on my own research and what has happened with ranking, not only my own site, but others, it's not necessarily about getting tons of backlinks. It's just about getting some key ones that really verify how good your user experience is. And that's why we have a 7, or excuse me, a 6. Yeah, she's a 6 ranking over a 50 domain authority. I did see the question about domain authority. You can use Moz. Moz has a free tool. It's not really important for us to know. I tend to look at it more so just to explain to people that they're kind of like doubtful whether or not they can actually rank. And so for me, it's more of a tool to help people understand that they need to shift from thinking about SEO in an old way and think about it in the new way, which is really the long-term way. So anyhow, we're up in here. We've got a lot of people going to experience. Let's see where they're going after they go there. Good chunk of people going to home. Good chunk of people going to NC wedding photographer. What was that page again?
That's my portfolio page.
Okay.
Basically, I'm using that to try to rank basically for the spearhead NC wedding photographer.
Okay. Let me see what they're doing from there. Now, the big thing that we see a lot of times, we may have spoke about this last time. A lot of times, if something is heavy on images, like a portfolio page, the rate at which people make it to the contact page from there drops pretty drastically.
Yep.
So like I'm looking here, and this is getting away more so from what I think the main things are in terms of higher ranking. And this is really going beyond your original question and getting more into more inquiries. Because your user experience is good in terms of how Google would see it. But for you, the big thing that is going to be your next step is how do we get more people to your contact form itself? Because we this is good. We got a lot of people going to experience, but then they're going to this portfolio page, and then they're going to experience page, right? And a lot of them are going back to homepage. It even looks like so. Then portfolio, and so we're just seeing a lot of people go in all these different directions besides the contact page. I mean, we have this person made it to the contact page.
And I mean, there are 4 in the second interaction column. There are 4 people that went to contact from experience, but so there's some people that are going to contact. But
which one? The 4th interaction.
The second interaction column.
Second interaction. So here.
Yeah, 4 down.
There's directly. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. We do want to see that.
I'll go back. I'm going to go back through that experience page because I'm off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure I don't even link to the portfolio page from the experience. They're just going off and clicking on it from the experience. But is
it in your navigation?
It's in my navigation. Yeah, the portfolio.
Okay. I tend to, especially if we're seeing that, I tend to tell people just remove portfolio from your navigation. And if I didn't, like, if we saw portfolio pages going to the contact form more regularly, like I would say, no, we should have more people go in there. But my philosophy on it has always been the more photos we show and the more we make it about photos, the more we allow ourselves to be compared based on photos. Whereas if we are building a mental model of ourselves in the mind of the person that's visiting our site, they'll feel that closeness to us. It's permanence, right? So permanence in a child, it's when it's not developed. That's why they like peekaboo, because like when your hands are covering your face, it's like you're gone, and then all of a sudden you're there, and that's magic. So point being, if we can develop a picture of you as sort of this guide that is aligned with what they want, the identity they want to achieve, then that's where the interest is stronger in the contact form. And we do see that your experience page seems to be leading to your contact form more than any other page. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. At least that's what I'm seeing. Maybe I could be missing something, but to me, that's what it looks like. More people went to your contact form because of your experience page. But the exception to the rule is when at some point they hit this portfolio page. Mm-hmm. Right? And I'll tell you, this was my philosophy before I started seeing data for it. Right? It was kind of like thinking about it. It's like, if dopamine works the way dopamine works, then it makes sense that if people were kept hitting portfolio page, they would actually become less interested versus more interested, because dopamine isn't meant to be a long-term like chemical that just circulates. It's meant to generate interest to then bring someone deeper into the thing that they were originally interested in. Mm-hmm. So we don't want to keep giving them the stimulus. We want to use the stimulus to associate positively to our copy, which then does character development, which develops the mental model of us in their mind, which then creates the vision of us working with them to produce specific types of photos for them, a specific type of people, so they can have specific type of emotional benefits, which makes them feel more secure, and then allows the entire buying process, because they've already visualized that entire process. It makes that entire sales process more like the unfolding of destiny. That's how it feels, versus just like they're actually making a buying choice. So practically speaking, since we've covered some of that, practically speaking, what that means is, I think I would go back, maybe I would remove it from the navigation, even if it's just for a couple weeks, and then see, do we get more people to the contact form because of that? Mm-hmm. Another thing is just directing more people. Maybe you look over the experience page, watch some full stories, because that would really be the next step, would be like watch full stories where people are interacting with that experience page, and see, okay, where are they skipping over and not making it to the contact form?
Sure.
Right? And then coming up with solutions. Sometimes those solutions are changing the colors of your buttons, having more enticing calls to action. I think maybe even last week we talked about, like, instead of just having contact, be like, let's connect, or, book a free consult, or experimenting with some different ways to say things so that it's more enticing. So for everybody that's just been joining in, welcome. Good to see everybody. Just to sum up what we just went over with Tom, Tom's question was like, hey, I want to stop being around like the top first page, or bottom first page, top second page. I want to make it to spot 1, 2, 3. What do I need to do to push it? I said, number one, let's look at your click-through rate. That is how many people are actually clicking on your site. We reviewed Google Analytics for that, and we were able to go, okay, click-through rate isn't the best. That means that we need to be looking at your meta description. Okay, meta description should be in first person. Again, I'm repeating this not only for Tom, but for everybody else, because somebody else has this same thing going on. I guarantee it. Okay, meta description should be first person, meaning you talking to them, almost like a text message, right? Because everybody else is talking third person and they sound lame. So it's first person, right? Hi, I'm so-and-so, a X city wedding photographer that specializes in X type of photos for X type of couples producing X type of emotional benefit. Okay. That alone, we've seen, will help raise your CTR. Then we talked about backlinks, right? We go in here and we go, okay, well, let's see if there's any backlinks that haven't shown up yet. Right. And I noticed we didn't see like wedding chicks. And so there's probably some different backlinks that we can get. Backlinks you really want to get as soon as possible. Okay. So just another tip for everybody that's joining in. And backlinks are big. You don't have to get tons though, because it's more about user experience. So then we went and looked at Tom's analytics. Tom's analytics looks solid. He's got good numbers, but there's not necessarily for Google's sake, but for his own sake of getting more inquiries, we found that his experience page is resulting in the most clicks on his contact form, which that's how he's going to get inquiries. So now not necessarily on the side of ranking higher, but on the side of getting more inquiries, sort of a secondary, tertiary answer to Tom's original question. Let's figure out how to get more people to that contact form while negating them actually going to the portfolio page, because portfolio almost never results in a click on the contact page. And there's psychological reasons why that we've already covered. If you want to hear and you just joined in, watch the replay. It won't take too long. I think that's about it, though. Tom, you good, my friend?
I am. Yeah. Thanks so much, and enjoy your vacation.
Thank you. Appreciate you, man. All right. Let me get back to my form here. We're going to keep rolling. Andrea, I got you up next. Good to see you.
You too. It's been so long since yesterday.
I know. It's been not even, well, I guess it's been a little over 24 hours. Or no, it's not been 24 hours.
A little under 24 hours.
23, about 23. Question being about pinning pictures. That's hard to say. Pinning pictures on Pinterest. And you're on Show It.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Show It kind of has a weird thing going on. And if somebody figures it out, let me know. But Show It doesn't want to let you pin stuff with the buttons unless it is on your blog, from what we've seen. Right. If somebody finds workaround, Becky looks like she might have something. You raising your hand, Becky? Chime in.
Yeah.
Chime in. This is a mastermind, so if you got something to add to the group, do it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Becky.
I have Show It too, so I wasn't able to like go to my website and pin my pictures. But if you go to Pinterest, it lets you look for pictures to pin. So it lets you do this thing where you can put in your website, whatever page that you're looking at, and it'll pull up all the photos from that page. So if you're not able to get one by going to your page and like clicking and pinning it, you can go to Pinterest, put in your website, and then it'll give you the option to choose that picture.
Okay.
Bingo.
I was like, I actually had someone tell me that Tailwind can do that too. So that's what I did. They have like an extension that allows you to look for pictures, and then it like auto generates pins for you. So
cool. Yeah. Yep. As long as it's got the direct backlink, you know, that's what you want, you know, and you don't need to do a million. You don't like, to me, I'm like, if you got like 1 to 3 pictures for that page, that's probably fine. Now you can do more, you know, if you want to try to get more traffic from Pinterest and incorporate that, that's fine. But SEO standpoint, get 1 to 3 pictures from a single page or blog post, and you're totally fine.
Okay.
Cool. But yeah, I don't know of any way to incorporate the buttons, which is super weird. I don't know why Show It has something that would limit you on that, but they do. In terms of your page, what I'd like to do is let's pull up your Google Search Console first. So I'm going to have you screen share, and we're going to take a look at that. And then we'll take a look at whatever else looks necessary once we've got that data. And I'm requesting remote control. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to maximize this.
Alrighty.
That's cool with you. I maximized, but then it got smaller. There we go. Okay. Very good. All right. I see you got a query in here. We're just going to analyze, try to get an idea of some of the minor things that are happening, which looks like it's kind of kicking you up, which, you know, you were nowhere. Now you're somewhere.
We started in April. We started basically the beginning of May. So.
Yeah. All right. Let's look at your performance to see. One of the first things I start looking for is that we start seeing multiple variations of your spearhead keywords showing up. So like wedding photography in Utah, wedding photographers in Utah. That's good that that's showing up. Yes. I would start to expect, and because we're only seeing those 2, I do want to go to your page here in a second and look at the keyword structuring, just because, you know, you may have it great and it's just taking Google some time, but we want to start seeing like wedding photographer, Utah wedding photographer, all of them. We want to see all of them start popping up here. And even if they're all low, that can still be a really, really good sign. So that's kind of the first thing I think of. But what were you going to say?
Those 2 have been there for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. So. And they're not in Spanish.
They're not in Spanish. Hallelujah.
Yeah. Big progress when Google knows that you're not speaking Espanol. So yeah, I like that we're seeing the two, but here in a little bit, we'll look at the keyword structuring to see if there's anything that we can do there. Also, like we did with Tom, just come in. Let's see if you've got some of like your backlinks showing up. Have you already gotten all the backlinks on the backlink list?
I think so, except for, is it Zola? That's the one I'm like, they just contacted me and were like, you can make a profile now. It's like, okay.
Cool. I'm not seeing a number of the ones showing up yet. I mean, we see Honeybook. You might have had that before.
Yeah.
So it looks like a lot of your backlinks haven't shown up. And this is why we like some people, especially if you don't have a number of do follow backlinks already, sometimes you can be slow to rank in the initial stages. But then when these backlinks show up, you kick up suddenly. Okay. So, and by suddenly, I mean often like many tens and tens of spots. So it can be a very quick ascension, but just be sure that you've gotten all the backlinks that you can get from that backlink list. And then have you cherry picked your competition?
What?
So yeah, in the backlink video there, I describe what's called cherry picking your competition. You can essentially use tools like, you can actually even use EasySEO. I'll show it to you here in a second. But what you do is you go find, because they've more than likely found some backlinks. So you can find some really nice local backlinks, often ones that you can get really easily. Hence the name of the strategy being cherry picking backlinks. So it's all about just getting the lowest hanging fruit. And I told this to Tom earlier. I was like, there's probably a million things we can do. And like an SEO agency, they've got like two tools. They've got throwing keywords at your page and then getting you tons of backlinks. And that is highly inefficient. We've got a number of tools and levers we can pull here, right? And so we could do 50 million different things, but we just say, what's the biggest, baddest, nicest big domino that we can smack that's going to hit a bunch of other dominoes? So it saves you time and energy. Now, if you like staying busy and you don't want to get there the easiest path, you definitely can get more busy. I know you don't like sitting still. So I could give you a big old list of things you could do, but I'm going to stay true to myself. I'm going to give you what I think are the things that you really should be working on.
Okay.
That's probably going to be, from what I'm seeing here, cherry picking your competition. Okay. Right. If you've already gotten all the other backlinks. So I am going to stop remote support because this will be something good to go over with everybody else. Is anybody else unfamiliar with what I'm talking about? Cherry picking your competition. Stephanie's kind of like, what is that? What are we talking about?
I'm writing this down.
Cool. Let me get it pulled up on mine and I'll screen share in just a second. All right. I think actually in the videos, I want to say I showed you how to do it with Moz, if I remember correctly, but you can also do this with EasySEO. So I'm gonna show you how to do this. I hope they haven't changed anything around. I goofed with them on this, but you go to Google and then you're doing Utah, right?
Yep.
Utah wedding photographer. So we just do a Google search for that. And we come in and we go, okay, let's find somebody that's ranking high on Google. Austin Diamond photography here. So I'm going to do my best to copy this. They always make it so difficult. And there we go. Come over here, enter it in, do a search. I hope it auto signs me in because I do have a paid account. And it's probably going to think for a second. It's analyzing everything. And then you pray it doesn't freeze on you. It's one thing about EasySEO. It often likes to freeze. Well, while we're waiting on it here, and now I'm doing this for that one photographer so far, but you can do this for anybody. I recommend doing at least the people on the first page of Google. So you've got this backlinks tab, which when it loads, I'm going to click on it. If I click on it before it loads, it's going to freak out on us again. I'm not freezing, right? It's just EasySEO. Like I'm good.
You're good.
Okay. That's what I like to hear. So it's not my computer. It's literally just Uber Suggest.
Their program is janky.
Yeah, I mean, it works, but yeah, it tends to freeze a lot. So you've got the backlinks overview here. And, oh, come on. So we're going to enter it in again because it's going to be difficult. So you get to see their referring domains and backlinks.
Holy cow.
Okay, so we'll click on backlinks. Should take us straight there. Well, maybe not. Backlinks, and we're going to sort it to follow because we're not really concerned about the no follows. Yeah. And then like you can literally just go through here and see like which one of these backlinks you can get. Now, don't get ones that are spammy. Okay. Like you see spam score here, like India and Cobra images, right? It's a 61. If it's green, you're good.
Okay.
But if it's like orange, red, even yellow, I'd stay away from. So you're filtering based on follow. You want it to be a follow, and then you want it to be in the green.
Okay.
Right. And then some of these might be paid. Some of these might be paid, right? Don't worry about that. Some of these you might not be able to get. Like it's like they only got it because of some weird situation. Like you can't just get it. Sometimes you can comment. Maybe it's a blog post, right? Okay. Maybe it's like here's Peerspace. The 11 best wedding photographers. You might be able to message Peerspace and be like, "Hey, I'd love to get on this list." We've had people actually get on Peerspace, but I think it is like you have to message them. I'm not gonna lie, I think I messaged either them or like 3 best rated, and they would never respond to me. I think it's because they were doing it for SEO, like they wanted to beat me, so they didn't want me to be on their list. So because they would put like random people on there, and I'm like, all right, come on now. And it was, I think, pretty much all people that weren't on the first page of Google. But you've got tons of, and this is just one photographer.
Yeah.
Maybe you only find 3 of these links that you can actually get. Let's give, 3 is good though. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you've got, probably 5 or 6 other photographers there on the first page that you can do this for.
Okay.
Right. So, and this can be more, I don't want you to treat it like it has to be a sprint. You can treat it more like a marathon. What I've found to be really good is make this a practice. So I'm not saying you need to do this for forever, but at least until you hit the first page of Google, I would say make it a goal to like get an X amount of new backlinks every week. Maybe that's 1. If you're like, look, I can take 15 minutes out of my day and try to get 1 backlink. Honestly, if you're already in the mode, I feel like, because you're already in the mindset of doing this, it might be easier to try to go ahead and do 3 to 5.
Okay.
And do that. If you can do, again, usually the more often you do something, the more easy it is to just do it versus every other week, right? So put it in your calendar. You've got a backlink day where you're just going to go get 3 to 5 backlinks. You're going to take maybe an hour or whatever and just go do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Makes sense. And you can sort it. They've got like the way you can sort it based on spam score. That's probably the best way to do that. And another thing I'll mention, just for loading y'all up with as much data as possible, the higher the domain authority, the better. And the more relevant it is to your industry, better. And then if you can get the hyper local ones, even better. Okay. But that doesn't mean like a 1 is no good. But it's like HD wallpapers, Utah landscape pictures. Like,
yeah,
probably not
really what I do.
Yeah, probably not that great, but 11 best wedding photographers in Salt Lake City, 57 domain score and a 1 on the
spam.
Like that would be a good one to get.
Okay.
Any questions about this from anybody? Let's see. I think we had something in the chat real quick. This was from Kevin. Asking about, I have a question about backlinks. Didn't fill out question on the forum. Competitor in my market, Baldridge Photography is on the page from a keyword Tulsa. It's a good amount of backlinks. Seems to have paid for. It's like $150 for 30 directories. From what I can tell, that's the only reason he's first page. Is it worth to follow suit, or could it hurt me? Yeah, so the question from Kevin, because it's relevant, I just want to answer that real quick. Essentially, you got to be really careful about paying, quote unquote, for backlinks. It is technically considered black hat or illegal to pay for backlinks. So you don't really want to do that. However, if it's directories, there's a few of these services. The most popular one is Yext, and they will auto list you on like all these different directories for like $150 or something like that. I've heard of another one. I forget what it's like, maybe something local or something. It's another one just like Yext. You could even Google search Yext competitors. That's actually not a bad thing to do. Google does like to see consistency across directories. And so if you find a reputable company and they're not doing it the wrong way, and you're not necessarily doing it for backlinks, because a lot of those directories are no follow, right? So again, it's not the directories themselves that you're trying to get backlinks from. It's more so the consistency across directories, across many directories that Google looks at, and they will compare your Google My Business to those, which actually can help you rank higher for Google My Business, or Google Profiles is what we call it now. So that's very valuable, y'all. I'm actually a pretty big believer that you can get as many or more inquiries by ranking on Google Profiles, the map pack at the top. Does everybody know what I'm talking about? The map pack. You Google search something and it's at the top, and it's got the businesses with the ratings, the reviews. That's what we're talking about. That's an incredibly valuable thing to rank for. There's other things besides getting directory listings, even, across the interwebs. But it sometimes is a lot easier, and you do get listed across more directories by doing one of those services. You just want to make sure it's a legit one. So I hope that answers your question. But Andrew, real quick, let's take a look at your Google Analytics. So screen share for me. We'll do this, and then I'll make a couple suggestions, and then we'll keep rolling. Does anybody like that cherry picking your competition stuff? It's one of those things when I found out you could do that, I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Landing pages. Let's look at how your homepage is doing specifically. What are we at? Okay, that looks good. Oh, yeah, go and hit a homepage. I don't want to look at the entire site right now. I just want to look at homepage. Bounce rate looks good. It's within tolerance. Session duration's increased. Looks good. So you should be pretty good in terms of your general user experience. So I'm happy with that. And I'm not going to necessarily make any suggestions on that now. But let's go back to behavior flow now that we know that's pretty solid. And this is sort of like what I just went over with Tom, is that we're wanting to look and see, okay, does it look like it's getting people to our contact form? So if you would, can you zoom out of like how big this is so we can see more at one time? You should just be able to hit Control then minus.
Oh,
there you go.
what?
Very good.
Sweet.
So we got a lot, the most of your traffic is going to services and then portfolio. Okay. And I'm always up to new data, and I'm always trying to take in more new data. But generally speaking, the amount of people that get to the contact form from that are either very minimal or almost non-existent. So
I got rid of it like a week and a half ago.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll look at like the last week too to see what people are doing. But yeah, a lot of service. Oh, no, I don't want to start at services. Well, yeah, I do. Services, a lot of people go back to homepage, portfolio, homepage, portfolio, then a couple people get to contact.
There's some that go from services to contact. Right. It's like the third page down.
Yeah. You're talking about the first interaction, or which interaction you talking about?
They land on my homepage.
Oh, yeah. Directly to contact. Yeah. Typically what we do is we look at the top interaction first, because this is your primary action. Okay. And so anytime that we're making changes to your flow, your lazy river, we're trying to put the highest converting pathway at the top. So if we're going, okay, services, like if services was leading to the contact form the most, and it was like up here, then great, awesome. Like that's what we want to do. Now, I don't know. Do you have a like an experience page?
Yeah, that's the services page. That's what that
is. The services page.
Yes. So they are going
cool.
where I want them to go. It's just called something else.
Yeah, no, I like that. Okay, so yeah, no, this is good then. I was thinking this was maybe like a pricing page.
No.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense to me now. So yeah, so that is leading to the contact page probably more than anything else is. Yeah. Usually the people that are going to go there right away.
And I mean, this is showing like the last month of stuff, I think, but I did get rid of that portfolio page. So
yeah, let's sort it down to like the last 7 days. Does that make sense to do that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Works for me.
All right. So this is interesting. People that are going, because a lot of people are going to services, which is good. But they're dropping off at about. Now we don't have a whole lot of data though, so I don't want to start saying you should change a whole bunch of stuff. But that's interesting to me.
I'm just really interesting, Jeff. They want to know about me.
Yeah. Let's take this out to 2 weeks because I feel like we maybe don't have quite enough data to really come up with some solid conclusions. That's my only concern. So we'll do that, compare to previous period from there. And I know you've made some changes in the last week, but we just don't have a whole lot of data yet.
Yeah.
So it does look like your about page is sort of dead ending.
Okay.
So I would recommend, we go into full story. We won't watch through a bunch of videos right now, but I don't know if you've looked at how to sort it, but I would definitely go in and say event filters and then visited page and then about. And I would watch through a few of these and see if you can figure out what people are doing. Okay. Because to me, it looks like people are kind of, I don't know. They're not digging that something about that about page. So we want to figure it out. You still got people going to your contact form from services, which is good. Do you have anything on that contact page below or like whenever they submit the contact form that they can continue looking at?
There's, I don't know. I don't remember. I haven't edited my contact page in forever. This is my contact page.
Cool. All righty. Yeah. So contact page is pretty critical in terms of getting traffic through it. Few tips. You're telling people for the most up-to-date pricing and availability, fill out the contact form below. Okay. Now, this is where I include the stuff about going to the how much to spend on a wedding photographer, because you don't want your price shoppers to just leave. You want to educate them and then direct them to either contact you or back to the contact page. Though they can find the contact page again. So during that article, I like to, to know more about how much you should invest towards your wedding photographer, book a free consult. Okay. I'd also on this page, like if you've got some resources, like have you created any resources?
I just started blogging.
Okay. This is not an essential, but we have found that if you do have something like here that either they submit the form and it takes them to something informative, or if you just have something below, it keeps them from completely dropping off at this page. Okay. So just another little suggestion, but I would start by at least setting like the expectation up here, for the most up-to-date pricing and availability, please complete the contact form. But if you're interested in just knowing about how much you should spend on your wedding photographer, click here to check out this resource. Okay. Last thing we'll look at real briefly though, because we've covered a lot of ground here. Again, just to sum up what we said inside analytics there, I would be checking that about page inside of full story. See if you notice anything, because what I would suggest is we probably need to create a call to action that directs them
On
to
my
go to the
about
next
page?
thing. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it can be the
probably.
contact, like send them to the contact form, right? And again, if you've got that resource article on the contact form, you prevent them from just doing the price chopper shuffle, and now you're educating them. So, let's look. I'm gonna pull it up on mine, but I want to look at the keyword structuring, because I think that, again, like the backlinks probably has a big part of this. By the way, I don't know if you all have noticed, a lot of what I'm sharing with Andrea, although slightly different, is very, very similar to what I shared with Tom, right? Because there's a formula here. And so the more that you all use this formula, the more empowered you're going to feel to be able to work through these things, even yourself, right? Again, we want to get you a fishing pole, not just a fish. So this is not just for Andrea, is what I'm saying. So we're going to go into, because again, like inside Google Search Console, I'm like, all right, well, we're seeing a few of those keywords pop up. A possible thing is that we just need to check your keyword structuring to make sure that your supportive keywords are in there, which they may well be. And it's just, Google needs more backlinks to start verifying you. But, I think let's see, keyword like wedding photographer in Utah, you've got that in there. Wedding photographers in Utah, you've got that. That's good. With wedding photography, good. Utah wedding photography, I'm sure you've got that in there. That's your spearhead, I think. Got the plural.
Utah wedding photographer is my spearhead.
Yeah, yep.
Yep.
That all looks pretty good.
It's like the one keyword thing that we were looking at was that I had all those like Peter Selinger things.
Yep. Did you ever reach out to them about that?
I did, and they basically said sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Don't sweat it. I don't think that it's going to be a death knell. Really don't. I've seen that kind of stuff before, and it's not going to be a death knell. It's frustrating, but
it's weird
seeing that you've got pretty good supportive keywords here. I think your best bet right now is just focusing on the in terms of ranking, just strictly, not user experience for you getting more people to the contact form, but just ranking. The backlinks are probably going to be your best bet.
Okay.
Just because looking inside of your search console, it looks like there's not a lot showing up yet. Okay. So making sure that you've got the ones from the backlink list, because again, I've given those, right? So if you've gotten all those, great. But if there are a few that you haven't, I would get those, and then cherry pick your competition. And getting some of those backlinks, again, the sooner the better, because it's going to take Google some time to find them. But like I mentioned with Tom, you can do some things on your site to help Google find those more sooner. Becky, whatever the proper grammar is.
She's commenting on my weird text. I don't know what that means, Becky.
What is it, Andrea? Have you looked to see if any of your canvases have additional views? That's where I found weird headers and text on show it page. Yeah.
I'm unmuted if you want.
Yeah, unmute. And then, if we can find a solution, I'm all for it. Again, this is a mastermind, so we got people that know stuff, and it's not always me. So go for it, Becky.
So when you're designing your show it page, how each page has different canvases, right? Mm-hmm. So you can break it down to your navigation, a bio, whatever you need. And then inside of those canvases, some of them have additional views. So some of the big ones that they already have constructed for you are testimonials. So it'll have a view 1 testimonial so-and-so, so that when you click on an arrow or next or something that triggers that click action, it'll go to the second view. And then you can go to a third view, and it can keep going like that. And some of mine, when I looked up my headers, I had a whole bunch of H1 tags. And they were views that had been put into that template that I had gotten from Show It that I didn't know were there. And so then when I went through and found them, I found the second views that were just random testimonials that were just basically placeholder text that Show It had created. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
yes, I think you're basically saying look at the headers of those things, not like the actual image of it.
I would say look at your Show It page, like when you're creating it, your actual like the builder portion of it.
Right.
And then on the left-hand side, wherever you're finding these weird texts that are coming up. So right now we're looking at your home page. So go to click on site, click on home.
Why don't you screen share, Andrea?
All right.
We'll see if we can find it real quick, because this is one of those things that if we found a solution for it, I would love it. You know, it's just been one of those things. It's like Show It doesn't seem to know, you know, it's not a Show It theme. So it's kind of like, it's not, you know,
right,
it's not really their problem.
Unless it's something else hidden in there, but that's where I found weird stuff. So yeah, even looking at yours right here where it says testimonials, you see how it has view 1, view 2, view 3.
Yeah.
If any of these canvases, so your logo, video, photo 1, services, if any of those canvases have an additional folder view in them that you didn't know about, or that Show It had put in there with the template that you're using, it may have extra text in there that you didn't add. It was just in there when they created the template.
So if you're looking at my view 2, edit testimonials, this is view 1. And then this is view 2. These are like my words. Do you just mean right here on the screen?
Yeah. And
Okay.
it's great if they're yours, but what I found was some of them, like if you go back to homepage.
Okay.
And then click on maybe services.
Okay.
Do you have any views? Do you have any views in there? Okay, so that one's.
It's just one. Anything that has 3 views, I've changed all the text to be mine.
Okay. It's mine was just kind of double checking to make sure that there weren't additional views that I hadn't added.
Yeah. So when I go to my homepage, and like if I go to my website and I search those words, it says they're not there.
If you do, if you use the, which one is it? The SEO Quake.
Yeah.
And do the diagnostics.
Yep.
Does it show up as having additional headers or anything that you're not aware of? So
nope, there's only one H1.
You have 23 H1s.
Yeah, it's 23.
So view others.
And yeah, look at that.
So, and some of these might be those things that Show It has put on there. And those were things that were hidden. So if you can find anywhere where, you know, those are hidden in there and you didn't mean for them to be that, they may be something that Show It had put in the template that's still there. But that's just what I found investigating my own site. Anyway.
This is good that we found this. You do have like 20 something H1s.
This is something I fixed weeks ago, Jeff.
Well, did you change it on both mobile and desktop?
I believe so. I mean, maybe not. I don't know.
Double check it. Yeah, double check that. And you know, it's fine to have the H2s and H3s and H4s, etc. But yeah, you want one H1 because that could be something that's kind of confusing Google a little bit. Another tip with your H2s is generally you do want to include what you did here, and I'll click just to show you, like this wedding photography in Utah. It's good to have the H2 in there, but it's generally good to have at least some of your supportive keywords in H2. So those two things I would, you know, if you're making a list of things to kind of poke around with, I would do that. But mess with this, see if you can figure out exactly where those are. And then if you run into another brick wall, then let's take a deeper look. But we do want to reduce these down to one. So Becky, thank you, because I don't know that we would have found that this session. Another thing I'm noticing, not to overwhelm you, you know, but just I know you like staying busy here, so we're going to give you some stuff to stay busy with. Meta description looks like it does not have one. So do your meta description. That's going to help you out. Yep.
Jeff, I went through the entire thing and did all of these things and it's taking them away. I like fixed everything on here that was red.
Yeah.
What
You've
the
done
crap?
schema as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know where you put your schema? Did you put it in the code on the like the homepage?
I don't remember. I followed the things that you told me to do.
And well, the only thing I could think of is if it, you know, I mean, you obviously have to hit the publish button. That's the only thing I can imagine. But we should be able to see if we go to, like, say, your homepage here.
Yeah.
You know, and then look at, come on now, scroll for me. No, page is on the wrong one. Well, I think
You're clicked on services. You need to click on home.
Oh yeah, I thought I was clicked on home, but I wasn't. Sometimes I just don't know. So I see full story. That's the full story code.
Schema right there.
Yep, looks like it's in there. Yeah, I wouldn't sweat this too much because we know that Google's already showing it. So that makes me think that that's incorrect on that. And another thing, just to make sure that we're not seeing some sort of weird old data, is we'll go back to your homepage. I know we're spending a lot of time on this, but this is good stuff. And this is the type of stuff that, you know, again, even if this isn't your issue, this is stuff you should know how to work through.
Yeah.
And check, because you could have this issue even if you don't know that you do. So like we can come in and come into view page source. We're going to search for H1. So I see H1 there for the Utah wedding photographer. And it really only looks like you have one. I don't know. I mean, to me, it looks like you only got one H1 here. What were some of the other ones it was registering?
So some of the H1s
Like-
aren't even on my, like, save the date. I have that nowhere on my homepage.
Yep, it's not in the code. Wow, that's interesting.
Okay.
You've got that Peter Selinger
Yep,
stuff.
Peter Selinger right there.
Yeah, I think that SEO Quake is not showing you the right thing.
Okay.
Let's try refreshing here. We are on your site, correct?
I think so.
Okay. Well, hey, look, now it's
Oh,
showing.
look, H11 and a meta description.
Okay, we fixed it. Whatever we did, we fixed it.
I was like, I swear, Jeff, I did my homework.
Yeah,
I'm not
that is
just on this
super weird. That is super weird. Look, it's even showing you have schema markup now.
Okay.
All right. Well, we fixed it. Good job. You know, you may still put this in first person, like I mentioned, but
Oh yeah. Okay.
but it's there. It's there now. Okay, cool. Well, back to the main point. Now, I mean, it'd be cool to still figure out how to get rid of Peter Selinger, but alas, I think your biggest domino to knock down right now is the backlinks.
Okay.
If you got all the backlink lists, you know, maybe double check, make sure, then do cherry picking, get some of those backlinks built up. That's going to build your trust and authority with Google. Again, you don't necessarily have to get all the backlinks and the most backlinks and all that, but it's still good to get a good handful of them. So make a schedule for it, start getting those on the reg, and let's see you move on up. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Cool beans. All right. Let me get back to my list here. Always fun when things don't make any sense whatsoever. All right. I've got Stephanie. What's up, Stephanie? And we're gonna go really fast. Okay, so if anybody, like, I'm gonna opt for going as fast as I possibly can. If somebody's like, "Whoa, slow down, partner," keep in mind there's a replay that you can play at half speed. Also, keep in mind you can't ask questions as we go along, but I'm going to go as fast as I can just to make sure that we are being respectful of everybody's time. First question was DNS ownership verification failed. Was that something that we worked on together originally? And then
Yeah.
like we were waiting on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
I checked it back several days later and it still just kept saying that it failed.
Can you pull up your Google Search Console for me? Screen share.
Yes, I can.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and answer your other question, like the second question here about Dallas wedding venues. Again, this is one of these questions super relevant for everybody. So generally speaking, you don't want to try to rank your homepage for Dallas wedding venues. You generally speaking want to rank, say, like a blog post. Okay. So having a blog post for Dallas wedding venues is smart. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have like a featured section on your homepage for Dallas wedding venues. And it's actually smart to do that because then you're sort of directing Google to the page that's about the wedding venues.
So I have that. I just don't know if I have too many keywords then throughout that.
Just don't use a whole bunch of them. If you've got like an H2 and like you say something about Dallas wedding venues, that's totally fine. But if like you've got it all over that homepage and you've got a bunch of supportive keywords for it, it sort of starts to look like it could be about two different things because those really are two different things. Using it once is actually possibly helpful because you're not, I mean, it is related, but it's not hyper related. So it's fine to, you use a tertiary in the realm of relation keyword. That can be good. But if you start using that a lot and it's on different parts of the page, it starts looking like, okay, what's this actually about?
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Cool. I know you had some issues with the grammatical side of things. We'll get to that here in a second. But I know you mentioned wanting to get your website published so you can start collecting data. You've rewritten it like 20 times. So, that sounds fun. Why have you rewritten it 20 times though? Catch me up to speed.
I had already sort of like designed it prior to this, and then going through how you said to kind of lay things out was very different than what I had. So I just have been tweaking, and I don't know if it's too much text, if it's, I don't know. I've just been circling now.
Okay. Let's go ahead and, because we're on that question, let's go ahead. I'm going to screen or request remote control. And then let's just go ahead and look at your site like that you've been working on. It's not published, right? So we have to get inside the builder.
Yeah, let me.
Yeah, keep this up though, because we're going to come back to this in a second.
Okay. Actually, give me 1 second. Let's do this link.
And walk me through just, really briefly, because you mentioned there's a lot that you kind of had, okay, I'm going to do it this way. Then we kind of went over the stuff we talked about. You decided to do it another way. Talk to me about those differences.
So I had to figure out how to get, okay. So first of all, actually I added this. I don't know if that works for the H1 tag, if that's too small.
Yeah, no, it's great. It does not have to be big. That is a common misconception that it needs to be big. It 100% doesn't. Okay,
cool. And then the way that I was told initially to do this part was a totally different structure. And so how do I explain that structure? It was, what did he call it? It was a much more condensed kind of like, this is, who I am, who I serve, kind of like what you said, but then like, that was the extent of it, like period. So it was much shorter of an intro. And then it kind of went into, take me to, learning about you, take me into portfolio, take me into experience, which yours is more so, let's get them to experience. That's the
versus portfolio
and about. Yeah.
Okay. Who was teaching that?
Ben Hartley.
Okay. Yep. And I think that because I like Ben and I like when people have done Ben stuff, because there's a lot of other stuff that is very complementary,
Mhm.
right? Ben does all the things, ads, SEO, I mean, it's all the stuffs, right? We really focus, probably our primary focus, even though we talk about SEO, website stuff, and sales, is user experience. And we look at the numbers. We're looking at actual patterns. And I've had people that have worked with Ben a lot, very close with Ben, that have done this program, and they've done the portfolio, that stuff, like they've done it that way, and then it was like it wasn't resulting in as many inquiries, right? And now I'm not saying anything bad about Ben. I think Ben's great in terms of what he teaches. However, I think when you go more general, it's hard to go as deep on specific things. Right. So my whole thing is, hey, I'm not going to give you all the things you can do. I'm going to give you the 3 keys that will make you hyper efficiently successful. And when it comes to this particular section, I like how you did it. Now, the question is probably going to be, did I write too much, too little, right? Is that kind of where we were going with it? The way to answer this, number one, generally speaking, is I always say, don't write a book. A lot of people look at my website, which I goof around with. I goof with my website to just do stuff. So what I have up on my website right now may not actually be the best performing. Okay, so I'd tell people, don't necessarily copy my website. There's some good aspects of things, but you don't want to copy it exactly. This looks fine to me. This doesn't look too big or anything like that. I think it looks good. You go into the story, draw them in. Cool. You introduce your character, which begins the character development. You kind of go into what you like and all that stuff, which is fine. I like saving most of this stuff for the about page. So not to say that you can't keep it, because I would keep it the way it is and analyze it and then make micro changes. But what we're doing here is you're introducing yourself, but then you're going into your values and telling. The point of storytelling is that we show, and the storytelling doesn't stop with this first section. We're really supposed to keep on storytelling, because again, our goal is not to convince them that we're awesome. It's to paint a picture in their mind. When they feel the closeness to us because we've developed our persona as a mental model in their mind, the exclusivity of the relationship, because again, nobody hires 4 wedding photographers, right? Generally you get 1. The context is exclusivity, so that closeness will then start to breed what is loyalty. The options and energy that their brain produces for the possibility of going with other wedding photographers begins to be cut off. And this is a decision, which comes from the word incision. So this is why we believe very strongly that when people go to a portfolio page and you give them dopamine, they're not developing a mental model of who you are. You're just giving them dopamine. Well, guess what? They get tired of your images. Now they go to the next photographer and it's new. So then they get some more dopamine. And then basically it comes down to whichever photographer by chance connects the best is probably the one they're going to go with. But what we're doing is we're taking the principles of that connection and baking it into your website. We're controlling those principles. So the tip that I would give you for this particular section would be, here's you in the moment, but now let's make you 4-dimensional. What's your backstory?
I tried adding that in there, and that's when it got really long. So I was going to save that for the about me.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing though, is that and not that you can't put it there, but the ability to chop down how long something is and make it super condensed is a skill. Mm-hmm. And so I want to challenge you. I would do your backstory, but swift to the point. Like, I could sit here and say, yeah, so I went to my grandmother's house and she needed some help putting up Christmas lights. And, she tried climbing up the ladder, but I was like, hey, don't do that. And then she's like, well, can you get it? And then like, I was like, sure. And then we like climbed up there, and then I was like looking around and like, couldn't find the right Christmas lights. I like moved 7 boxes. I dragged that on forever. Or I can just say, for me, it all began when Grandma asked me to grab Christmas lights up in the attic, climbed up there, saw Grandpa's old film camera sitting behind a box. So I brought it down and still had a few frames left. Fast forward to today, I'm photographing X type of couples, producing X type of images with X type of emotional benefit. So if you'd like to see more about what it's like working with me, click the button below to go to the experience page. So it's super short to the point. And the reason why we're doing that is because, again, the primary goal that we're trying to accomplish is developing a mental model. So it's like you wow them when they first hit your site, right? And then introduce them to yourself. Now, primarily, like I really like it when we give copy even before they see you that quickly allows them to define what they're seeing with words. So X type of images for X type of emotional benefit, for X type of couples. That easy text to consume trains them to then want to consume larger chunks of text by positive association. Because, oh, wow, amazing photos. These photos are, and their eyes going to go to the text. Those are elegant, emotive images for people just like me. Are they going to say that in their brain like that? Probably not. It's all going to be like this. Mm-hmm. But then now there's a positive association of the images with the text. So now they've started to associate that dopamine with reading your words. It's all about just getting a little bit deeper with them, a little bit deeper. So now they've started digesting your text, right? And here's where this gets real important, because now they're drawn into this, and this, it's you in their world, because you're telling a story that's very, very, it's an experience they want to have, and into which you introduce yourself, and then character development. So now the mental model of you as the key holder to this future identity, right? You're the key holder now because you've shown them an identity. Now you're introducing yourself as the guide to get them to that identity. Because if at the end of the day, that's what you do, then people are pretty much going to be very happy with you. If you're just delivering photos and that's the end result, they're unhappy, or they're not as happy as they could be. Because guess what? They get the photos and they're pictures of them in which they have insecurities, right? Because all the other pictures, when they're looking at these gorgeous photos, they're imagining themselves in these photos, which in a perfect world means they have no insecurities because they can't see their insecurities. So if that is your product, again, this is why I think portfolio pages are so dangerous for your sales. Not only for your sales, though, for your customer happiness long term. Because if we're selling the image instead of selling their future identity, then guess what? They get the photos and you haven't delivered what they originally wanted, which was photos in which they felt no insecurities. But if you're selling them the identity, well, you've told the story. The story's more the focus. The identity, which you have delivered on that. I just had a wedding this weekend that it's like they're high achieving individuals, so not laid back, which I'm okay with. And they are really like to party. Okay. And so they really wanted me to be able to get they really wanted cool reception shots. And there was a point at which the bride, who she does like fitness dance, she's like been a fitness dance coach or something like that. Like she with this other person, and the dance floor was so crazy hyped. It was insane. But they do the splits. Okay. And they did the splits. She looks up to me like, did you get that? And I just go, because in that moment, she feels she's exactly who she wants to be. So it is the picture, but it's not necessarily the picture. It's the identity that I'm delivering. So that's how we do this, is we transition from look at my photos. I like photos like this. These are my types of photos and I like these things, to here's the type of person you can be. Okay. Here's me. You want to go there together. That's how we make that transition of just getting customers to getting dream clients. Okay. So I do like how you've set this up. I think it's cool. Let's just make sure that you do have, I know you've got like the learn more. I would really try directing people to an experience page. And I would set it.
It does go to the experience page.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Just give them an expectation of what they're going to get from clicking this. In the less ambiguous, the better. Learn more is sort of ambiguous. Now if you've told them in the text exactly what this is, cool. But I like to be very, very, like, it needs to find a balance between curiosity and expectation. So if you can cause them to curiously expect what they're going to get when they click that button, that is the sweet spot. Curiosity is a dopamine trigger, or it is a dopamine emotion, I argue. So if you can say, basically, by clicking this button, you're going to visualize what it would be like working with me. And then you give them that. That's the next phase of character development, because we've developed your character. Now it's not just you existing and sharing values, but now it's existing you as the person that's actually taking their photographs, because they're going to imagine themselves as they go through that experience page already working with you. Okay, that's why it's really good to have behind the scenes photos, by the way. So I think we should stop there on that in particular, because I know we still need to go over one other thing about the DNS, which, if it's being stubborn and we have data coming through these other ones, I'm really not going to worry about it too much. This isn't essential. I like to get it done if it's not being stubborn, but if it is being stubborn, then so be it. We don't necessarily need it. Yeah.
Just didn't know if we entered it wrong or.
It shouldn't have been.
Okay.
It should not have been. You've got these other properties in here. Let's just see how much data is coming through. So the HTTP ones probably won't have any. This one should 758. That looks good. Then your www one, it's got 0. Yep. So this is a pretty good chunk of data, and I would imagine that this is totally fine. So I'm going to opt for not worrying about the DNS stuff. Again, it's not absolutely essential. As long as we're starting to see your keywords pop up here. So like once you publish the new version, which I would go ahead and do it. Like go ahead and get it published. If there's no reason to me why you can't go ahead and get it published and start getting data, especially if you've got some keywords baked in.
Okay.
Does that sound fair?
Yeah, I'll just try and rework the again.
Yeah, I mean it's good. It's good. I would stick to the formula again of like, okay, it's all about getting them it's not telling them all the things that matter to me. Because guess what? When you tell them all the things that matter to you, there's no vision. They're not seeing something. But when you storytell, they're seeing something and they're seeing your values. Now the About Me page is a little bit different, because if they found that and they're going to that, that's where I believe they do want to hear more about you, family, more lengthy backstory, the philosophy on why you take the types of photos that you take, etc.
Okay.
So I tell people, hey, you want to start talking about coffee, golden doodles, and long walks on the beach on your About Me page, go for it. At that point, I think it's totally fine, because that may be exactly what they're looking at. I mean, think about it. If your favorite actor or actress came up, would you kind of want to like hear more about them? Now if it's some Joe Schmo you've never met, do you want to hear about Joe Schmo that just came up and started talking to you about his great aunt? No. But if you have an interest in the person, sometimes it can feel good to actually hear more about them.
Mhm.
So that's why I say keep that About Me page where you really put most of the telling, because that means they probably have already gotten the mental model developed. And so now they're going to actually enjoy the further character development of the mental model. Does that make sense? Cool beans.
Yes.
All right. Does that cover everything for now? I think we got through.
For me, yeah, I think so.
Okay. What I'd like to do
Take
next
out some
session.
more venue words, huh?
Say it again.
I'll just take out some of the venue words I had in the site as well then.
And work on it. If you've got a blog post or a different page for that, work on getting that optimized if you haven't already, because that'll be kind of the big thing that if you want that ranking, definitely get links, internal links going to that, homepage, etc. But make sure you optimize that blog post, or if you have it on a page, that's what you want that to be optimized for. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then next session, what I'd really like to check with you, I mean, we can do other stuff too, but really want to make sure that you've got your keywords down pat. So, as long as you've got Spearhead supportive keywords, like, we'll be good. But I do like to check that, make sure everything looks solid. So when you feel like you've got stuff published and are kind of in the mode, I'll also review more stuff about like the Dallas wedding venues side of things, making sure the balance looks good then.
Okay.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
My pleasure. All right. Shayna, I got you up next. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you for asking. Let's bring up your site, and then we're going to go over stuff, because I know we mostly just want to do like a overall review, correct?
Correct.
What's your URL again?
It's EVALYNANDCO.com, EvelynandCo.com.
All right. Hold on a second. Might have found the link for it. No. It used to be your name, didn't it? Did it? It used to be your name?
Like years ago.
Do you still have that?
I don't think so.
Okay. I asked that because if you do still have that, it might be worth forwarding that domain to your current website.
Okay. I'll look into it, but that's like over 10 years ago.
Okay. Did you keep paying for it for a while? Like, did you have that domain for a period of time?
I really have no idea.
Okay. It has a domain authority of 5 and 42 linking domains for 52 backlinks. So, okay. And this is good for everybody. Just to mention this, if you ever change your domain, you really want to forward it. So that way you get all the juice from your old domain to your new one.
Yeah.
So that's why I was going to say, if you still are paying for it or it's still active, which it looks like it is.
Okay. Yeah. I have no idea.
You can't get to it. So it might have recently gone down. I don't know, but it might be worth, looking into that a little bit, but I know that's not today's topic. So, okay, let me go back. How do you spell it again? Spell it for me one more time.
It's EVALYNANDCO.com.
All righty. And I'm actually, now don't do anything, because I'm going to look at something here. I am going to look at it on mine. So I'm going to, because I can go deeper if I look at it on mine. Okay. Let's go ahead and do this though, real quick. Let's get you open system preferences. Click the lock. Yep. And then hit the 2 zoom ones there, and then there's going to be one other one more than likely. Should be, go over to the left and scroll down. Keep going. It should be screen recording. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that one's already selected. So we should be good now. Let me try to click. Yep, looks like it's working. I'm going to maximize this. Let's look real briefly inside of here. What was your Spearhead keyword again?
St. Louis wedding photographer.
St. Louis.
And we spelled out Saint, SAINT.
Okay. All right. So this one's getting. Hello. Got 8 on there. Let's see how much traffic we're getting on this one.
Does it make a difference which one you're using? Because I've always clicked that one.
Yeah, it does. See how this one has 15 versus the other one has 8?
Okay, yeah.
So this one, and notice the keywords showing up for this one are actually St. Louis. So this is why I say you always want to opt for the one that has more traffic.
Okay.
So let's go in here and see where it's got you sort of. So, yep, you pop up kind of hanging out around that 70s position. But what's good is you do have you have the varying keywords pop it up here.
Okay.
So I like that. This one looks like you're up in 60, kind of 60s, but then hanging out around here. So let's look at analytics. Oh, very, very, very intense, baby. Okay, so all I'm doing is I'm just looking and seeing how the page is performing in terms of bounce rate, session duration. Bounce rate's a little bit high over the last week. And then session duration's a little bit low. So there's definitely some room for improvement on that. We do look for the 30-40% range on bounce rate. And then I like to see minimally minute and a half, ideally at least 2 minutes on session duration. Traffic wise, a lot of people hitting that 4 brides, and then a lot of people going to pricing guide. What's the 4 brides page?
That is my wedding page.
Okay. Is the homepage more general?
Yes.
Okay. This is the inquiry page for weddings?
Correct.
Okay. Do you have like an experience page, or does this for brides page serve as sort of an experience page?
Yep. If you scroll down, it would you would be able to see the experience.
Okay. All right. So let's do this. I'm going to stop screen sharing. I'm going to look at this stuff on mine.
Please.
All right. So we have this page, and I see the St. Louis keywords on this page. Love your design. Now, if I click on weddings, that's the 4 brides page. What you don't want to do, though, is you don't want to have these 2 different pages both optimized for St. Louis like this.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, this page I would highly recommend almost being like just an experience page.
Okay.
Because your homepage is already like a wedding. I mean, it's wedding focused. You know, it doesn't like you have like a lot of other types of photography on here. You know, I mean, it's pretty much all engagement, right? Engagement weddings.
Yeah, I have 2 spots where you can go a different direction.
Say it again.
I have 2 spots where you can go different directions. The lifestyle and then boudoir.
Okay.
You don't have it anymore. I'm talking. Hold on.
Which, you know, I would definitely be looking at like, because I see these pages, right? And is that how you get to those other pages, or is there another spot?
And then the other spot would be on the homepage. So like if you scroll down, so that one would be families, the one with the lady who's pregnant, and then my is number 3.
Okay. So I'm a big fan of not having various options for people to venture down on your homepage, because the more specific you are, the more immersive their focus becomes. And so the more you can work on character development, because this will break that. Anything that doesn't align perfectly with their identity, it's going to break the immersive experience. And then the state of mind we're looking to accomplish with people is that of hypnosis. They are willingly being hypnotized by our website to perceive the mental model of our persona. So the more that we are in line with that, the more it is going to actually result in them having that mental model of us developed, which will allow us the advantage of the sales process, because they're going to trust us more and they're going to feel more connected. When people feel trusted and connected to someone, they're more likely to, number one, choose you in the first place, because their mind subconsciously will automatically cut off the other options. Yeah. But also they will trust you in a way that they'll allow themselves to repose into a state of perceiving value. As human beings, we have to protect ourselves, because if we just see, you know, all the good things about everything, it's like we don't always consciously think of it this way, but it's like if all of a sudden you start seeing everything you could buy on Amazon, what would happen to your bank account?
Right.
Like if they really, which they do this, right? You buy a thing and then it suggests like 3 other things, right? Like at some point we have to go, my bank account's going to hurt if I keep just seeing value. So we actually protect ourselves by cutting off perceived value. That is a defense mechanism.
Okay.
So we can't get them to a place of perceived value unless they are reposed, sort of like, given in to the hypnosis.
Okay.
And in that state, they're now willing and their guard is down so they can see perceived value, which when they see your pricing guide and they're in that state, it allows them to go up your value ladder so that they spend more with you.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, right now, you've got the introduction, and this looks aesthetically, this looks great. Like, so I have no issue with any of this. However, what we want to do is we want to, just like I was sharing with Stephanie, this really should be less of an introduction to yourself and more of a storytelling to develop you in their mind. Now, what we've seen, generally speaking, when the image is on the right-hand side, people tend to skip the text, look at the image, and then move forward.
Wow.
Because the image is a higher mental stimulation than words.
Okay.
So people in most countries, I think most countries, could be wrong, but generally speaking, our eyeballs track from left to right.
Okay.
So if you put the more highly, visual thing on the left, then they see that, then go to the text, consume it, then move down.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you think that if I got rid of like that bottom half where it was kind of like the options, what would you suggest as far as transforming my homepage? Like, do you think I should use my weddings page as, I don't know what else to put on there, I guess.
On, you're saying the For Brides page?
Like, cause you were saying like I shouldn't have options, like you're kind of against that. Mm-hmm. So like, what else? I mean, should I get rid of this completely and make my weddings page my homepage, or should I just keep adding just a little bit, just take out the options on the homepage and add a little bit more? Yeah,
I mean, it makes sense to me for this to be more of like your experience page.
Okay, all right.
Turn this into your experience page. Like you've got the step-by-step guide. That's wedding experience.
Right.
And again, I like making this its own page because we do want them to click stuff.
Okay.
All right. So we want them to have movement. That's going to lower your bounce rate. So like I am fine with most of the stuff that's on here. The only thing you don't necessarily have is I like behind the scenes photo again on the left, and then story tell about how you saved the day one time.
Okay.
And then invite them into that. Right.
Yeah.
Then it's all about, okay, let's get them to see what your process is. So I would move this step-by-step guide up. If this is kind of like your process, I would move that up to the top. Now it looks like it's starting on step 2 though. So I don't know if like,
oh, that's weird. Yes.
Yeah. So, make sure it starts on step 1. And then that way it's like, okay, now they've begun to visualize themselves working with you. They've got the emotional benefit and sort of the perception that you're a person that can really bring value to their wedding day because you're storytelling about how you saved the day. This bride had this happen, but you had this solution and it was awesome because you saved the day.
Okay.
They've got the emotional connection there. Now it's moving into the concrete, non-abstract of, okay, what's it look like to actually start moving forward? Contact, discovery call, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay.
Awesome.
But back to real quick, we'll kind of wrap up on this, but for your mini about me section though, same thing again, it's basically take a story of your ideal client, use the first line as the header. So it's like, a large tear rolled down Jonathan's face, ... You don't have to use that story. You can use a story that resonates with your ideal clients. Then tell the backstory, introduce yourself, tell your backstory, then invite them to take the next step.
Okay.
Right. So that's the basic format. Work on some of that stuff. Let me check it again at during our next mastermind session. The last thing I'll mention is I would not include this.
Okay.
You don't want, that's because what you're saying is, think about pricing more than anything else.
Okay.
And that'll prevent them from thinking in terms of a value paradigm.
Right.
And will lock them into price anchoring paradigm.
Do I put that still on the weddings page though at some point?
I don't like having it anywhere listed on your site.
Okay.
And again, that's just from looking at data and seeing, like, we've had people, they're like, yeah, I took it off, and I started getting clients that, they'd say, oh, my budget's here and it's real low, but then they spent double, triple, sometimes up to like quadruple
Okay.
what their original budget was.
Okay. Sounds
And
good.
if they see that and that's all they got to go off of, you're losing a lot of people.
Okay.
More than you're gaining.
Yes. Yes.
Cool. That's some good stuff, though. Thank you for being here. I hope you found that super helpful.
Thank you.
No, you're more than welcome. All right, let me see who I got next here. I know that we're making a slow progress through all these, but this is really good stuff, y'all. I hope everybody's getting a lot of value out of it. Let's see. I know that we got a few people that aren't here. I think Sean's not here, right? Sean, speak up if you're here, but I don't think Sean's here. So we've got Rachel would be next then if Sean's not here. What's up, Rachel?
Hello, how are you?
Hey, doing good. Ready to get in the car and drive to the beach very soon. Not that I don't want to be here with you all. I do.
No, but family vacations, they're nice.
I'm just saying, like, here soon, not right this second. I don't want to be at the beach right now. I want to be here with you all, but soon.
Like soon. Yeah, I get that.
I mean, I guess I could have been on the beach with you all.
I mean, that'd be
scheduled it a few days later. All right, so let's take a look. What's the time frame we've got here, Rachel?
The last mastermind that we had things adjusted for is on here was 6/2. I adjusted those things on 6/8, which is like 2 days ago. I adjusted some things on the homepage because it felt funky, and I kept seeing people scroll. So I adjusted those on my own, and you can look at them and see what you want. But the bounce rate is still not great, and the session duration is still not great.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming that we should adjust things because you can full stories right there. I've looked at them. Most of them basically on my, here, I'll pull my website up. On my website, somewhere around here, start just scrolling.
Okay.
Is what I've noticed. Sometimes it's here, but for the most part, it's these, like this area right there.
Okay. My first thought is I feel like maybe we've got a lot of different tech stuff going on and it can feel busy.
Yeah.
That's kind of my first thought because we've got the bold, I'm going to click so we can see it, kind of like the bold text.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the boxes, we've got the thin text, we've got the cursive text, and we've got the serif font. So
should I just make those images? I put them with words on them just because it was whatever, but should I just make those images instead of having them have words?
I would.
Okay.
I would. I mean, I like it, and this is how I do it, but I know we've ran into some font limitations with Prism. Yeah. So that's where it's like, we got a lot going on. Yeah. And I think that could be.
I can also make it so they don't have titles and they just have a button below it.
That's what I was running through my mind, but I like having this for the SEO side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So, a couple things I think might be helpful, taking off the font. The other thing is maybe even see what it looks like if you center the font.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I uncentered it because of the, you said to make all of the places that look like paragraphs be left oriented, and I can't center those and have the buttons below them left oriented. So that's why it's left.
Okay. Yep. Prism's giving us some fun curveballs here.
Yeah. It's still on my docket to try to be positive about looking at Show It.
Yeah. I get it. And then do these have to be bold?
That font and all the other fonts that look similar to that font are all that bold looking.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons why I chose the font that I chose above. Is it's one of the thinnest, less aggressive fonts on the site available. I have the Prism editor on the far left if you want to look at the options.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Because, and this is for everybody. If you're watching Full Story and you're seeing people blow past certain sections, you got to start going, okay, how do I feel when I look at this section? Am I excited about this section? Is this section, does it drive curiosity in a certain way? Does it have a headline? paragraph, some form, and then call to action? Is it missing some ingredient? So that's really what we're wanting to try to do. Let's see what other fonts might work here. Which one is it? Is it the Libre Baskerville?
Yeah, I looked up because you had said Georgia, so I looked up Georgia, like similar ones, and out of a list of like 40, that was the only one that this website had, so I chose that.
Okay.
But they're all kind of like bold.
Yeah, they do all kind of look bold.
Mm-hmm.
But I almost wonder if they look so bold because they're next to the other types of text. Yeah. Like I'm trying to figure out if my brain is like, I think that almost looks better though.
Okay.
Is that
no, the Railway Thin is the one that I have on that.
Okay. So we've got Freight Sans Pro, which to me, I think out of all the ones we've looked at, I like that one the best.
Yeah.
I don't like going too fancy on text.
Yeah.
So we can try Open Sans. I don't like that one as much. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. We'll look at just a couple more here because I think that one that we were looking at is going to be best. There's another one I might try instead. I mean, if you don't want to, that's totally fine. But there was another one that's sort of like that Railway that might look even better because it's a little bit more bold. This Montserrat might even look nice, and it might again be a little bit more bold, so it might look nicer. Like it doesn't make the other one look. Yeah. Well, okay. There we go. There it is. I was like, where did it go to?
Yeah. So we can try that. That works.
Nope. And how do you do this on Prism?
Yeah, you're fine. You hit it, edit title, then come here.
Okay.
So you said Montserrat?
Yeah, let's see what Montserrat looks like.
There it is.
Yeah, I don't like it as much. Let's go back to Railway Thin. We tried it. We came, we saw, we didn't like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that already looks more readable to me. Yeah. I think is there a way to get rid of the
box? I
guess these are buttons, aren't they?
They are.
So can you adjust the size of the button to be the same? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
so all the buttons are the same. I can mess with it and see.
Okay. And smaller on the sides because they're almost touching each other. So I feel like if they were smaller, it'd be nice. And then I'm just a big stickler for things looking balanced because again, it does lead to more immersion. Anytime you don't break immersion, there's more of a hypnotic effect.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
So, but let's try that. See if people can hit this, and I might give it a couple days of just even that change, just so we know if there's any sort of change because of that.
Yeah.
But then like I would take the image, the text off the images.
Yeah. So do it just the font change and then do the
just
image.
Font change.
Okay.
Give it even just a couple days. See if you get any sort of different like people hitting it. Another change again. I don't know that I'd make it now. I would try to take these a little bit at a time just so we know what did what.
Yeah.
Like here, I would maybe even experiment with if we can make this more bold.
Yeah, I can definitely make that more bold.
Because if people aren't like if they're kind of hitting. Yeah, they're hitting this, and then like maybe their brain just doesn't latch on because it's almost like when you've got this and this looking the same in the mind, this doesn't stand out. They just see these two things, and then it's like the odds of them latching onto it. You just don't create focus.
Yeah.
So I hate to even look at anything beyond this as if this is where we're noticing most of the issues, like on full story. So I mean, we can keep looking at other stuff if you want, but I feel like. At this point in the game, it's micro stuff.
Yeah. So it's that. And then I wanted to address, because I knew that would probably be pretty quick because I have been watching and that is about, generally speaking, where it scrolls. The other is the click-through rate is still terrible. So I have a copy of my metadata that is not being used right here. And according to the thing that you just were looking at with on SEO Quake or whatever it was, I can't remember the site, but the one that you use on the thing, it said 160 characters. And what I originally used was 300. So should I limit it down to 160 characters?
So different things say different things.
Sounds about right.
Right. So yeah, it's one of those things where I always say definitely under no more than 300.
Yeah.
If you can go shorter and have more data, I always say go for it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's been times I've seen Google give the person with a longer meta description more real estate.
Yeah.
So the shortness thing is more so for your people to increase the odds that they're going to click on it. Because if it's more information rich, then that's good. Now, one thing I will point out here real briefly, I try to avoid words that could have a negative connotation.
Okay.
So for example, freezing. Like when I say the word freezing, I can, if I'm really sensitive to how I feel when I say it, I can almost feel like there's like a deep memory in my soul that makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because I remember, there's been times I've been very cold and I don't like it. Right.
Yeah.
So
I specifically used that because of one of the things you'd said was to talk to past clients and use keywords that they had said. And freezing was freezing your moments or whatever, or freezing my moments was the thing that they repeated. But I totally get that.
I think what they mean, is it is taking something that happened and making it, instead of just a moment, it's now. Versus it being a fleeting moment. So I would maybe, if you can't, because even your clients aren't necessarily always going to pick the best words. Yeah. Right. No, totally. So that concept, take the concept there
and apply it differently.
Come up with a different way to say it that would be maybe more of a positive. So I hate saying generic stuff though. So like capturing. And I say this because I did when I first started in photography.
Capturing is such an overused word.
Yeah. That's like the word. My this is terrible. My business name was Capture Form Photography. Just for y'all to know, back in the day when my mentor told me to keep my day job.
That was not wow. I've had similar not kind things said in the past, so I get that. But
I didn't take it. I mean, I was kind of like, he was very negative about the outlook because he came from back in the days when you could charge ridiculous prices for very not good photography because nobody, like, it was like way different back in the day.
Yeah.
So
the other question I have with the click-through meta, whatever, is I've done schema 2 times now to make sure there's a photo included. But when you look up, which is again right here, because I try to have everything prepared at the top where it says Raleigh wedding photographer, the photo still doesn't show up in the search. And I didn't know why. Okay.
Well, let me make sure I'm seeing the same thing on mine.
Yeah, totally. And my keywords aren't Raleigh wedding photographer, but I'm ranking for Raleigh wedding photographer along with my wedding photographer in Raleigh.
Yep, I'm still not seeing an image there, but let me do an incognito search just in case I'm getting served old data.
Because I changed, like I had done it forever ago and then it wasn't showing up, so I redid it to make sure I had done it right. And that would have been like 2 months ago. And I have yet to see it come up. And I did submit the website like multiple times.
Yeah, you're still the only one without a photo.
So just redo it again?
You should not need to redo it. No, you should not. And let me double check on here because I'm going to see if maybe I'm going to see what SEO Quake says. I'm sure you've already checked that though.
Yeah.
Right?
I did. It's actually at the top, but you can do it again.
Yeah, I want to see it on my, of course.
Totally. I just try to have the things that I had questions about.
No, you're great. It's great. I just, especially with what just happened with Andrea, where SEO Quake is showing us what looked like old data. I just want to get it on my computer as well and make sure we see the exact same things. But this is one of those things that does make me kind of go like, all right, is Prism just got some sort of weird thing where they don't want to let it show or what? Because if you've got schema and you've done it correctly, then you should be solid. All right. Well, I'm trying to get SEO Quake to work for you, and it's keeps saying no data. Maybe they're having a rough day today. It says page data is not available. So
weird.
We'll look at it. Let's look at it on yours here, and We'll see what it gives us. I just want to make sure everything looks solid.
Yeah, and the alt text on those images I have tried, but it's a Prism thing.
Okay. Wait, where'd schema go?
To the top.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, you got it. And what I'll do real quick is I'll just look at your source code and make sure that it looks like it's there. I mean, it should be if it's picking it up, it should be good. Can you do a search? It's not letting me make it happen. And just type in local. All right. So I want to see the image. I don't know. I don't see the way to scroll over. Can you just scroll over and we're going to look for the the URL for the image.
So this.
Is that it?
It says image and then a colon.
Yep, that's it. That's it. So highlight that. And we'll put that in a browser and then hit enter and let's see if that actually shows it.
Okay.
What we're doing, everybody, is if like you want to take up as much real estate on Google as possible. So you want an image to show up. So this image, it looks as if it's working. So your image should be showing up. We've done everything we should be doing.
Okay.
So it's either something weird with Prism or Google's just taking a hell of a long time to actually get this refreshed.
All right.
Because we've done
it's
everything.
At least good that I didn't break it or did something wrong.
Broke it. You have not broke it. Was that the other thing? Was that what we were covering?
Those are like so I'll mess with the meta description, try to get it a little bit shorter, more concise, and get rid of freezing. And I'll change those fonts and then we'll go from there. I hope you have a wonderful vacation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rachel. All right. Let me pull up my list here. We're going to keep rolling. Next on my list is Becca here. Do we have Becca? I don't think we have Becca. Let me see. Who would be next then? Do we have Ed? Ed's here in Victoria. You guys here? I know you said you didn't have any questions, but I'm gonna force you guys into the spotlight if you got a second. But unmute yourself if you do have a second here. There we go. There's Ed.
Okay.
And man, you're out of your element. You're out of your element, Ed.
I know, we're in Southend for a wedding tomorrow.
Nice. And congrats on your booking.
Kent, which is one of our areas we'll be targeting at some point.
Beautiful. Love to hear that. Well, what I wanted to do, because I know you had a bunch of questions about like your site that we kind of covered inside the group. But, I just want to check in with you and make sure there was nothing in particular that you still had questions about, and then I can still do like a brief. If you don't, like, if you're like, I think we're good for right now, I can just maybe briefly go over a few things and just make some suggestions if you're cool with it.
Yeah, I'll get my notebook.
All right, get your notebook. I think Michelle had mentioned stuff about like this here. Did she mention something about that?
Yeah, hopefully that's fixed, but
yeah, about it showing on like on mobile is what it was, where it would show like down the next line.
Down the line,
yeah. Yep. Which, Michelle, one of the things she even picked out, which for everybody else, like, wait, what did Michelle say? Ed had posted in the group just to try to get ahead of the game on a few things. I generally speaking, we do want to see your H1 without having to scroll. I think this looks fine. A lot of times it can be beneficial just to put it up top, but I think the way that we've got the logo here and this is fine. But the issue is on mobile, it was like splitting up London Wedding Photographer very strangely. So this looks a lot better. One of the things that I would do immediately, you've got the capture candid authentic moments filled with storytelling imagery for laid back couples. Maybe work on just elaborating a little bit on the emotional benefit that they can experience because of that. So again, when people get their photos and they're so excited, what exactly are they really excited about? Like, what's the big benefit that they're getting by getting those photos? So work on that a little bit. But I love how you say this. Ideally, I love people to see this also. Like, really, if you can put it up here, I love it. So, like, replacing this, as long as it doesn't look too long, I would rather you have this. And again, if you can keep it short and sweet, that's awesome. Just as long as it's got the 3, X photos, X couples, X emotional benefit. I'd rather see that because it's more information rich than traveling the UK and worldwide for epic stories like yours. If you're concerned about the location stuff, I recommend up under your logo, you have like location. So you could be like lovely creatures, wedding photography, London, UK, worldwide. Like incorporate, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the logo. If you have like a tagline thing, you can add it in the tagline, but it's good to very quickly know exactly what you do, where you're doing it, and your business name. We got your business name. We've got here what you're doing, right? And where you're doing it. But if you're trying to also quickly get them to understand that it's, hey, we do travel the UK, because you guys do. I would almost prefer it to be up here and then this be more information packed and have this info there versus the, traveling UK type stuff. This is where I would start storytelling, and I would introduce yourself here. I know you guys already have like the mini about me here, but like this is cool. Like the neon, I know like that's you, right? Like the fake neon lights, right?
Yeah.
The looks like, or maybe that one is actual neon. I don't know. Is that the one you busted?
Yeah.
So this is cool. I want people to see this like right quick. Like to me, I'd have that section here and then storytell. So in here you're telling, but the storytelling will tell. So talk about a time when one of your couples was emotive and, acting in a way that allowed you to produce heartfelt images. That storytelling is going to do a lot more than saying, here's what we do, because you're telling. But if you storytell, now the curiosity is strong. You build the dopamine and you create the environment for building connection with them. So the one thing I'd tell you for now in terms of like the user experience is move this section up, and make it be here, and then draw them in with that storytelling. Okay. And there's more that we can cover. Don't get me wrong. Like we could sit here for an hour and really go deeper. But for now, I like to typically focus on one thing at a time. The other thing real briefly, though, that we'll look at, if SEO Quake will work, we'll see how it goes. But I want to start looking at your keyword structuring, because that is a pretty big key for whether or not you're going to start ranking pretty quick or not. So London, right? Well, I know we got London wedding photographer in there because that's a spearhead. It does look like it's in your H1. Now, SEO Quake hasn't had the best run for its money today, so I could be wrong, but I don't see that in your title. It's like if we go to diagnosis, we should expect to see it here, which we do see lovely creatures. But in that page title, get, lovely creatures, then either an up and down line with a space, or a hyphen, London wedding photographer.
Okay.
The H1 is good. Everything else looks good on that front. But let's go back to density real quick, because we not only went London wedding photographer, we went photographers, which you got that, so that's good. We went photography. Take note of that. I would make sure you add that. London wedding photography. I don't even know. Do people usually, is it like London, UK? Is that how people say it? Or like, I guess there's only one. There is London, Kentucky. So I have a London very close to me, but it's, so it might be worth even adding something like London, UK wedding photographer as well. But the other flip side of that is, wedding photographer in London, and London, UK, United Kingdom. Wedding photographers, London, not Longdon, London. Same thing. Wedding photography, right? And now I did notice that you've got like the text to HTML ratio stuff going on, where we could use a little bit more text on your page. So if we go into diagnosis, you'll see that text to HTML ratio. So we really could use more text. So going back to your page, something we might look at doing is because you got like quite a bit of text here.
So everyone's telling me it's too long. I'm like,
yeah, well, and yeah. And some of this, honestly, like this here. Let me see. They did it. Yeah. So you got the storytelling on here. Here's what I would do. Because this is exactly what we want. Like this is probably, and again, you guys could do whatever you want and see how it works and adjust it over time. I still tend to think short to the sweet does plenty. Save the longer version for like your about page. But, you could probably shorten this story down. Now, I know we're trying to get more text, but I'll explain that here in a second. This can be shortened down. If you've got the story, the intro, and your backstory, and then the expectation moving forward, like, okay, go to the experience page, which that's where that experience page thing goes. It can be shortened down quite a bit. So I would say take this text, shorten down, and have it more as part of this. I know you wanted to, make the distinction that you're the guy showing up, not Victoria. So this is good, right? Simple enough, sets the expectation. But get them to your experience page from here. Once you tell that story, the next step is developing that mental model. Do you have like featured wedding venues or anything on here?
Not yet, I don't think.
Okay. Yeah, you've got a lot of. The reason it's giving you that text to HTML ratio is because you probably also have a lot of code. Now that we've scrolled down, you've got pretty good. You got a pretty good chunk of text here, so I'm not too worried about that. But the one thing you could add would be, you've got some blog post stuff here too. Yeah, I think you just got a lot of code on your website. Stuff's looking good, man. By the way,
we had a lot of custom code before we started doing the course.
Mm-hmm.
I took it all off and just started again. So maybe it's not all caught up yet with what was, because there was a lot of code on there that was breaking things and giving us like errors in Google search console.
Right.
So I've been fixing it all and just started again. But to be honest with you, words aren't my strong point. So I'd probably need to get some help with whoever's got the time to help tighten this up, because it's something I find quite hard, but I think it's obviously very valuable to. I don't want it to go on for too long, but I also want to do what you're telling me to do. But I tend to waffle on a lot and write too much, and then people will probably fall asleep reading the website.
Well, and we'll know that over time. Keep that in mind. Like, the idea is not to get it perfect right out of the box. It's we get something out and then we start analyzing. So, number one, I've been reading through stuff, and I think your words actually are good. Like, what you write is good. We're probably going to work more so on trimming the fat down. Trimming things down more than anything.
Shredded.
Yeah, and which this is good though. So don't get me wrong. Really, the best thing for you to do right this second that I would not wait on is getting the supportive keywords in there. That's the biggest thing right now, is getting supportive keywords in. Then I would probably focus on making sure your backlinks and making sure you got plenty of backlinks to this page, which I know you've already got some. But then I would say, by then we'll have some more data and we can see how people are interacting with this. But just the big kicker is we really, like, you are the persona. You and Victoria are the personas behind the brand. So we want to take the intrigue of Lovely Creatures and quickly assign it to you. So that's where if you were to do nothing else right now, I would just move this section up, like here, so they quickly get introduced to you, and then move this phrase up in place of this. And then if you really want to hit on that your different locations, include that up here. So that would be the start for that. And I would just ask yourself as you read through this, like, and this is part of becoming really good at writing, because I don't think, like, I like the way you're writing. I just think we can trim some parts out. For instance, like in that moment, like you've introduced yourself. Now it's like, just tell your backstory real quick. And then like this taking photos of amazing people, friends, family. Like, this is good, but include this on the about page. Because right here, we don't want to talk about ourselves. We want to storytell, but we don't want to talk about ourselves. So even the fortunate work with Victoria, that's good about page stuff. We feel so honored. That's about page stuff. The welcome, I don't think it's really needed. If you feel like you really, really like that, that's okay. But to me, I'm like, that can be trimmed out. Weddings are a team effort. That's about page. Pride ourselves in documenting your day. That's about page. Right? And then you lead into about page. I tend to think that people are going to go looking for the about page. I don't even think you need to direct them to it. I want them to be directed to the experience page.
Well, that's half of it gone already, so that's good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like what you're writing is good. It's not that we need to really change too much. Like, you're doing a good job at writing from what I can read. It's just, let's take some stuff out, put it in a different place, make it shorter, condensed, get the words up here with you guys, move that section up. So again, we're focused on developing your mental model in the mind of your people that are visiting your site. So supportive keywords, and then that, in addition to, of course, it's all, especially at the early phase, it's good to make sure you're getting backlinks. Sound good?
Most
All right, for not having any questions?
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah.
All right, man. Always good chatting with you.
Thanks, man.
All right. I've got Lavina. How's it going, Lavina? Good to see you. We'll get you unmuted. I know you got to put the headphones in.
Okay.
All right.
We
want to check. We're going to check Google Analytics.
Okay.
That's where we're going to start for you. So screen share for me. And because we're trying to say, okay, we need to get more people to your contact page, right? So
Right.
we start that process with going, all right, well, what are they doing now? Right. And then we reverse engineer solutions from what's actually happening currently.
Okay. Do you have my screen?
I see it. I'm going to request remote control. And then go ahead and maximize that window for me. And
Okay.
and then
Several
let's
open. Here's the analytics.
okay, yeah, maximize that one for me so I can see it.
Okay.
All right. So we're actually in Search Console. So let's go. Is this where you usually access analytics? Is inside Chrome, or do you usually do it in Safari?
It depends on what computer I'm on. On this computer, I think I do Chrome. The other one computer, I do it on Safari.
Okay. Well, let's try it. See if we can get logged in. But it doesn't look like you've accessed Google Analytics or logged into it. I would expect to see that up here, but we'll see if it lets us in. All right. Yeah, we're in. As long as this is your website, which I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we're focusing on homepage initially. 1 minute session duration. Let's see what our window is. Let's get a little bit more data in there. You made any major changes in the last 30 days?
God, I don't even know what days it is anymore. Yeah, I think so, because I had a couple videotape themselves watching their little highlight video, and I embedded that into my website.
Okay. Cool.
So that way people can see the reaction as they're watching it. To
Yep.
me, I didn't know any other way to experience for video.
Yeah. No, I like that. Well, and we'll take a look at some of the stuff that you've done and figure out, okay, is there anything that we can do differently? But right now, just getting a baseline on how well it's performing. Your bounce rate is all right. So that means people are interacting. Session duration is a little bit low, especially for video, because we want them watching those videos.
Right.
So then we kind of got to start going, okay, well, what's going on? So that's where behavior flow comes in, right? Because we're going to get a picture of what they're doing from page to page, and we're trying to look for some patterns. So for example, we go in here and immediately I start seeing, well, there's where most of your people are hitting the contact page. Looks like they're coming from this blog post.
Okay. Yeah. Those are the last two, the Lugo and the other wedding. Those are the last two videos I just posted last
it's
week,
not that one.
the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. I think it's actually, they go home about, almost looks like it's from homepage about. Let me try to click on that. Yeah, you get quite a bit of, so if people are going to your about page, the highest next action is contact. So that's good. The only issue is
either I got a problem or they're not clicking. They're just going to that page and not actually filling out the form, because I'm not getting any leads.
It could be. And that's something that, number one, it's good to look at. That's where we start moving into full story. We look at full story. We go, okay, what are people doing? Are they sort of filling it out? Now, you don't see the contact form, but you can kind of get an idea. Okay, they're just hitting it and leaving or what? But it is good to, have you filled out your contact form recently?
Not have I filled it out? No, I have not. I can.
Okay.
On my about me page, when you say email me, it clicks and it doesn't take you to the contact page. It brings you up to, your email browser.
Well, let me see how that looks real quick.
Yeah. So scroll down a little bit or go there. Doesn't matter.
All right. So when they fill this out, is that what you're, show me what you're talking about first.
Okay. Go to about me, go to about, then see where it says email me. It just brings up a email browser. It doesn't bring up the contact page. So should I change that?
100%. Yeah. Okay. Always try to direct people to your contact page. Number one, if I get one of these and I'm trying to contact somebody, I hate it.
Okay.
Because it opens up that browser and I don't like sending emails from there, right? So it's I would rather go to a contact form like this, fill that out. And I would not even include this. Okay. Now I would include it like this information, but down lower below the contact form. And I would say, in case the contact form isn't working. Now that I would still fill this contact form and fill it out, make sure it works. We had somebody that they hit the first page of Google and weren't getting any inquiries.
I know.
They found out it was working, or it wasn't working. They fixed it and then started getting an inquiry per day.
Yeah, I used it a couple of weeks ago this is how I capture information at bridal shows. I leave this page up and I have them fill this out, and it emails me their information. Right. So that's how I collect leads at bridal shows. So I know this is working. Okay.
When's the last time that you had a bridal show?
May 15th, somewhere
so pretty
around
recently.
There. Yeah, in the last month. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I want to say let's get more people to this contact page where they're not emailing you through the browser. Should
I take off the event date required? Sometimes I heard people.
Yeah, some people don't know their date yet, right?
Yeah.
So I personally I don't make it required, or if you make it required, it's estimated. You can say estimated event date.
Okay.
Right, because then you kind of get an idea, and they're halfway serious. Another thing I like to do is go ahead and give them a reason to fill out the contact form. So at the top, you're putting, for the most up-to-date pricing and availability, please complete the contact form below. And then if you've got a pricing guide in terms of how much to spend on videographers, wedding videographers in New Orleans, which again is kind of setting you up as an authority, right? If you've got that resource, I like including a link to it from there. You know, if you're if you're just interested in how much it costs to, you know, for your wedding videographer in New Orleans, click here and it takes them to that page. Right. And so now you're educating them, which is going to help you in the long run, because then people you'll see it in your behavior flow. They go there and a lot of people will get back to your contact page / you know, be able to like you can tell that they're actually engaging with that material. And a lot of people will come back to your contact page.
Okay.
So that's what I would say for this page. But I think just changing like how they like, instead of including ways to email you, which I think you do, I think there's some of that even on the homepage, isn't there?
Yeah, there is some of that on the homepage. So take that off and put it on there.
Yeah. I would get it to where it's like coming straight to your contact form. I mean, are you getting calls? Are you getting a lot of calls?
Well,
or any calls?
No.
Okay.
Because I find people don't call anymore. Nobody wants to talk on the phone.
Okay.
Once in a while, I'll get through I had somebody reach out to me recently on this little chat thing I have on the side, you know, but her budget was, you know, I try to get them to, and that's a whole nother thing, to go through the class and closing and sales and everything. But her budget was $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
She wants 8 hours for $1,000, and that isn't going to happen.
Yep. Well, and again, you know, you'd be surprised if you do have a sales process that accommodates it. You'd be surprised how many people come in like that and will spend way more.
Right.
But another thing is, like, if you've got, for videographers especially, if you can produce some content that's like, you know, top wedding photographers in New Orleans, for instance.
Yes,
they're going to find you early on.
Yeah, I'm on expertise and wedding rules. I'm one of the top 10 on both of those.
That's not what I'm talking about, though.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about you making a resource like that, sort of.
Okay.
Only for, say, photographers or venues. So, for instance, they go search. They search for a New Orleans wedding photographer, and they find your website, your blog post.
Right. So if you look at my blogs, now, granted, just like that gentleman said a few minutes ago, he hates writing. I hate writing.
Yep.
If you click on any one of those, I always link to the photographer and the venue.
Mm.
And
yeah, but that's not really going to help you, though.
Okay.
Because what we're wanting to happen is we're wanting someone to go like this. New Orleans wedding photographer. Okay. And then for photographer, like you actually show up for an article where you're suggesting the photographers, sort of like Peerspace or Wedding Wire, Carrots and Cake, etc.
Okay.
Right? Because then it's like, now you can start giving, and you can do this for venues, you can do this for photographers, you can do this for planners,
right?
Whatever you want to do it for. It's just helping you get found sooner in the process, because if you're getting a lot of people that are like, yeah, I've already booked everything else, and now I got $1,000 for you. Right.
And photographer, I check those Uber keywords. Mm-hmm. Videographer and photographers aren't getting many, if you want to call searches for that. New Orleans wedding venues is getting like 5,400. This is my backlink page.
Yeah. Well,
so I got like a lot of backlinks.
Well, so you're saying New Orleans wedding photographer, you don't feel that there was much traffic for that?
No, there's not, because I've been searching not as many as New Orleans wedding venues.
That may be true, but generally speaking, and wedding venues is great, but you shouldn't compare something like wedding venues to, say, the searches for videographers or photographers, because you got to think, if they're searching for a videographer, the odds that you can book off of that are probably a lot higher than if they're searching for a venue. Not that you can't book off of the venue posts, because you can, or the venue blogs, because you can. You absolutely can. And the cool thing about that is, if you are into networking at all, that does create some good opportunities for you to actually network. But yeah, I think and Uber suggests, once again, it's taking quite a long time to load for me. So we'll get some numbers here in a second. But the New Orleans, from what I recall, has some pretty good traffic. I've got 590 searches for just one keyword, which is pretty good. I know it's not as in the thousands for one.
What time frame? A month. Okay.
Yep. So going back though, real quick to your your home or to your website. I think directing more people to the contact page instead of the email is going to be good. I think that what I would do here is same thing like we've kind of been going over with different people is like you produce X, like you got to start like really pushing the art and push less of the service.
Okay.
Because the more that you push things like the intangibles, the more people are going to, again, they get into a place of perceived value versus, oh, I'm hiring a service.
Okay.
Because if you're more about the intangibles and the art of it, and you're more of the artist, you're no longer commoditized. But if you're getting those inquiries where it's sort of lower budget, it's people are sort of catty cornering you into being a commodity. You're being it's a service. You are a service person that produces a service. And we want to get you out of that. And that's going to allow you to have more higher quality leads and to be able to charge more on average. So this is good. You did this and I'm proud of you for this. Getting your face on there, getting the about me. I would up here, just like we've kind of mentioned with a few other people, we want them to be able to see a few things, such as you produce X type of videos for X type of couples that provides X type of emotional benefit. And that blurb quickly allows them to take what they're seeing, assign it to your words. Then when they hit this section, they're more likely to be engaged with it. And so, I like what you've written here, but I would focus more on an actual story that's happened and less on talking about what you like, because they're not ready to hear what you like. Now, this is fine for an about me page, but for here, tell a story that is painting a picture of the identity that they want to experience, right? Like her walking down the aisle, dancing with her dad, groom crying, something that is like one of those things at the party, they jumped in the pool, whatever it may be. Okay. Telling those stories, curiosity driven, then introducing yourself, but quickly moving into the backstory so that they begin having the character development happen in their mind. So, like if you got lots of questions, et cetera, like they're probably not like that's like a contact page sort of thing. Like they know they can reach out to you. We're still trying to romance them. We're not trying to ask them to get married or anything like that. We're still in the romance phase. Okay. So get the story in there, invite them. If you're looking for a wedding videographer in New Orleans, click the button below to check out what it's like working with us. Okay. Then they go to, ideally, it's okay if you do about page, but honestly, I think we've seen better performance with experience page here.
Well, if you click on that, go to that, it's got the about me on there, but if you scroll down, I need to change that heading. I just didn't, kind of stuff with to do. And then there's that watch video where I've been. Oh
yeah. This here. Yeah. So, I would make it a separate experience page though. I mean, you can leave this here, but I would make a separate experience page just because, again, we do want them to be going from page to page to page because it does look good to Google to do that. So we do want to have different pages, but that experience page, we're going to focus it on being like this can be here. If you've got any behind the scenes footage, that's really powerful. So like, even if next wedding, the next wedding that you video, you have like your second shooter or somebody on your team get video.
Oh, that'd be great if I had someone with me. I'm mostly solo.
Yeah.
Can't find anybody to work.
Yeah, this is true. But if you can, that can be really nice because that's also something. Or if the photographer you're working with, if you're like they're willing to take just a photo of you like videoing something, that can be nice as well. So that experience page, though, again, when you have it, like something like this is good to include, but then also like use that space to tell a story about how you really like knock the socks off one of your couples. Okay. So again, you're giving them felt needs because sometimes they don't know they don't know the problems they could encounter, right? This is why it's good to tell those stories about how you save the day. Okay. But I would start there, and then just real briefly, we'll look at your supportive keywords because I know you're kind of like you're hovering between like I think maybe the second and third page, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, something like that.
So I want to see what your supportive keywords are because that's usually the big culprit there. So I'm pulling it up on my computer. Just because it's a little bit easier for me to navigate around stuff. I need to close out a few things. So give me just a second.
I mean, like when I post a video, get lots of, I get people watch it. Like
Mhm.
the video of the same-sex couple I did a couple weeks ago, that got like 400 views.
Are you posting these on YouTube?
No, I'm Vimeo.
Okay.
But they're on Vimeo hosted, but sometimes I put them on Facebook. But that particular one, all I did was send them the regular link, which is off of my website, at their blog post basically.
Mhm.
And they sent that out to their friends and family to watch.
Okay. Yeah, and that sort of stuff is fine, and you may get inquiries like that. From an SEO standpoint, though, the biggest thing I'm kind of looking at is going, okay, we need to get you to where you're hitting first page for your keywords, though. So, like, I'm looking. What was your spearhead keyword again?
New Orleans wedding videographer.
Okay. Let's go back to diagnosis. New Orleans wedding videographers. Okay, so that's in your title. I see it's showing that in H1. What am I not seeing here? New Orleans.
I couldn't
wedding.
get to this SEO quick for some reason, but I think it's because I had Zoom up and I could.
That could be
read
it. Could be
And
it.
then also, real quick, had a really one big question. I don't think I've gone and hit that thing somewhere. I'm supposed to go every time in Google or something and hit when I've redone the website.
Yeah, Google Search Console.
Search. Okay.
Yeah, which I think you had it up. It's just the inspect function up at the top.
Inspect. Okay.
Yep. And then you just need to click the submit to be indexed. But what I would do even before you do that, I would start getting, okay, so like, see, you've got some meta keywords in here and you have keywords inside of there, but what we're not seeing, like inside your actual page, like your homepage, we're not seeing New Orleans wedding videography. We are seeing New Orleans wedding videographer and videographers, which is good. Wedding videographer New Orleans and or in New Orleans, wedding videographers in New Orleans, wedding videography New Orleans. We're not seeing, I mean, we're seeing some of that. Let's see. It doesn't, we're not seeing like the other supportive keywords. And so that's probably going to be one of the big things that actually helps you hit page 1 is getting in those other variations in your actual page. Does that make sense? So that would be probably functionally just for ranking. That's probably your next big step.
So I need to include New Orleans video, New Orleans videographers in New Orleans.
Yeah. Well, you've got New Orleans wedding videographers. You don't have videography in your actual content. It's in your meta keywords, but Google doesn't really count that. So New Orleans wedding videography, and then wedding videographer New Orleans, in New Orleans, and you could spell it Louisiana, for instance, put that in there. Wedding videographers, wedding videography. Again, all those with New Orleans, in New Orleans, Louisiana, etc. So, does all that make sense?
Yes.
Just kind of, using those different various keywords through there. I'll double check to make sure you don't have too many of your spearhead keyword. And then, I think that's probably enough to work on for now. But, you've got 6 repeats of that. So you could probably even reduce that by like 1 or 2. If you're struggling to put in keywords places, you could just replace 2 of those with 2 of those supportive keywords, and then still find other places to add those other supportive keywords.
Okay. And those they don't have to be H1 or H2 or H3.
No, it's nice if you can. Yeah, they can be in paragraph, but if you can make some of them H2, or an H3, it's nice. It's nice to have some of your, because it does increase prominence a little bit. Okay. So that's just a thought. Okay. Cool.
Yes, I'm seeing if I had any other questions or where my question page is, because I've been taking notes for so long.
Yeah. That's all I have on there. And just for the sake of time, now if you want to hang out for a little bit, we can circle back around, but I do want to make sure we get to everybody else first. Right. So I try to get to the questions on the forum, and then if you have more, we can circle back around. Okay.
Okay. I think that's it. And I've been working on trying to figure out how to make a page. Just when I make that page of top photographers and venues I like to work with or whatever, make that a whole nother header up there?
Yeah, you'll treat it just like you would homepage stuff.
And what do people normally call that?
You're talking about the name of a blog post like that?
No, do it as a blog post or do it as a separate web page that says, here's the top, wedding venues in New Orleans.
I've seen people do it both ways. I've always done it with blog posts.
Okay.
And you could technically do it either way, but if you're on a website builder that limits how many pages you can actually create, for instance, a blog's usually the better way to go. But you can just, like, let's say do one for photographers. It's just going to be, best wedding photographers in New Orleans,
Okay.
or top 7 wedding photographers in New Orleans.
Okay.
And then, refer to the ones that you'd like to build relationships with.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Great.
Good
Well,
stuff. You're doing a great job. I love the progress. I think your website looks a lot better, by the way.
I just haven't had time. Like, I got 2 weddings and 2 dance recitals this weekend. So
I get it.
I got to go get ready and head to a wedding.
Little by little,
That's right.
little by little.
But then we come up to July and August and we're dead.
Yeah. When it's coming fast, right? I'm like, I can't believe we're already in June.
Yeah. Have a nice vacation.
Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
All righty. So we're going to keep rolling along here. I've got Becky. What's up, Becky? Hey. All right. Let me click into your question here.
Well, it was just about getting backlinks, but I think we kind of talked about that. So, I mean, if we could just kind of look at my website and see what could be better, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, we can do that
if we have time for it.
Yeah, because we've already covered a lot when it comes to backlink stuff, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, mine is just trying to find them and whatnot, because I've tried the cherry picking and looking through, and there's a lot of my competition has people that have referred to them in their blogs and things like that. So mine is just finding them at this point.
Right. Well, have you already went through the backlink list?
Through most of it. Honeybooks has gotten rid of their community, so they've dropped that one, just out of FYI.
Oh, nice to know.
Yeah. But yeah, so I've been going through like a lot of the no follow pages, and just trying to figure out where there's ones that are a little bit more affordable since I'm still relatively new. So
yeah. It's always better to try to get the free ones if you can. So
yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to screen share. Let's take a look at things. Yeah. And first and foremost, we'll take a look at like SEO Edge just to see what everything looks like in diagnosis and keyword structuring.
Sure.
St. Louis wedding photographers right there. Cool. Got your H1 in there. Looks good.
I do have a meta tag, so I don't. Oh, okay, there it is. Never mind. Like meta keywords, but regardless.
Yeah, I don't even worry about that. Juniper and oak photo. You don't have to have that here in your heading.
Oh, okay.
So you can take that out. I mean, you can if you really want it there, but you don't need to. So if it were me, I'd just take it out. Just keep it more nice and clean. So that looks pretty good. Look at density real quick.
Yep.
All right. So you've are all your uses plural so far?
Mostly, but I work as a team with my sister-in-law.
Yeah. Still use that singular though.
Okay.
Yeah, use the singular and photography.
Okay.
Get your variations in there, and then same for the wedding photographer, St. Louis, wedding photographer, St. Louis, photography, St. Louis. Then abbreviate as well. And you've got 6 uses of your spearhead. So even if you drop that, like if you replace 2 of those with those variations, and then just find, good spots for the other supportive keywords. That's going to be, I mean, and this is one of those things that we regularly see. We've had some people struggle and going, I'm stuck on the second, third page. They do that, and all of a sudden, bam, they're on the first page.
Okay.
So it's a big deal.
Google. Okay. I still need Google to recognize that that's my keyword. So.
Yeah. Well, and the more that you use supportive keywords, the more it will believe you for even your spearhead.
Okay.
So supportive keywords, definitely get those in there. Site's looking good. Like I said, you can take that out because it's not really necessary. It'll look better without it.
Okay.
This is probably, I almost would guarantee that I'd be surprised, I should say, if Google didn't sort of flag this as being too small. The
okay.
wedding photographer St. Louis. I would make your logo a little bit bigger, and
Okay.
or make this much smaller. Personally, if it was me, and this comes from like looking at a lot of, to each their own. So if you don't like this, that's fine. But when it comes to higher end brands, most of the time this is not always true. Most of the time, if they have one, they usually kind of keep it smaller. So think like Ferrari, for example. But this is just like the words are so small, and then the logo is so prominent. So if you
Okay.
one thing you could do is just get rid of the logo, but maybe you could even still use it somewhere, but you could either get rid of it or make it much smaller and make the juniper and oak, and then the wedding photographer St. Louis, make that larger.
Okay. I have a different, I had someone make logos for me, and I have a different one that's just like the words. So
Okay.
I can get rid of those pictures and just do the word version.
Yeah. I mean, I like this. I think it looks cool. But this is where if you do the spearhead branding stuff, where you like research the brands that your ideal clients are used to, it's really best to usually best to not reinvent the wheel. And now you may find brands like they do this sort of stuff. And it's like, oh, they're used to that kind of stuff. But a lot of times, like my first business, I had like a logo and all that, right? And when I switched, which there was other bad stuff, your branding is better than mine was originally. But when I switched, it was just Jeff and Michelle, and it's just font. That's it, right? And we've attracted some pretty cool clients doing that. So I just tend to say reduce this, because a lot of what we're going to be doing with your site over time is just like elevating the look and feel of it.
Yeah.
Right. So let's see. I would take this button off of here, just because you've kind of got like two calls to action in the same section. Like in motivating, like articles, I like multiple calls to actions, but when you've got like a motivating frame, I like just one.
Okay.
This feels a little bit too bold for me. You could experiment like with a different font as well, because this font for buttons, I'm not a big fan of.
Okay.
I'd rather it be like, maybe even experiment with like a sans serif sort of font. And the best thing to do again is like go and look at, like if all your people shopped, they loved, oh gosh, just left me with the one store is called. Somebody help me out. What's a place that you think your ideal client shop?
Christy Dawn.
Spell it for me.
CHRISTYDAWN.
Dresses. So like we can start kind of drawing from like the way that they do things.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes with e-commerce, it's a little bit tough because it may be more of like a catalog. Like you build your website like this. However, you can draw inspiration from the colors they use, and even the way that they structure their font. And I don't recommend looking at just one. You usually want to look at more, but they've got it almost exclusively like a shop. Like for instance, like if you go to, let's say we did like anthropology. Oh no, looks like they do have more of a homepage. Now that let's go back, because I didn't see this until I started typing in anthropology. But this is really good. Like if you have not done the spearhead branding stuff, it's really good, because we start going, okay, we're looking at like what they're doing. Like they even see how they got that. They got the little thing, little icon. I dig that. If that's where your people shop, they're used to that. They like that kind of stuff. Like it's got a certain feel to it. Like even that, like this sort of collage, like lifestyle looking stuff, you can do some stuff like that. I'll show you that. What it kind of reminds me of is this person. I think this is who's done that. See that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a little bit more retro. They're Las Vegas, so they've got like a strong Las Vegas vibe going on. But you know, that's the type of stuff that you can start going, okay, I'm going to draw inspiration, and just like let that sort of motivate you to how you start building out your site. But look at, you know, look at the fonts that they use for sure, and look at how they. One thing they don't do a whole lot is they don't use a lot of call to actions. So like, if I was helping them, I would help them with their call to actions. But you know, in terms of font use, I think they do a pretty good job. They're very consistent. On your site, you're using a lot of, like, you've got a number of different fonts going on. You know, you got like the italics. I think what's going to happen is it's going to end up being like, it's going to feel like a lot. So I think if you watched Full Story, and I could be wrong, but if you did watch Full Story, I think you're going to see a lot of skipping over these sections because people are going to be like, oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and you compare it to like what you see with Christy Dawn. Very simple. There's really like, there's no confusion on what I'm looking at here.
Okay.
The fonts just all kind of lined up. Very okay. Christie's favorites, cool. A little visual representation. Shop now. There's your call to action. They got a call to action there. See that nice little call to action? See how it's so, like, this is just pleasant, is it not? Little icon, clear. You know, this is like the secondary text, and just a nice little call to action. So I would draw inspiration from this stuff, and you know, again, there's what font, so you can see what types of font they're using.
I've tried using it, but it wouldn't. The extension wasn't working, so I've been trying to just kind of go into their coding with F12 and see what it is.
Yep, you can do that too if it's not working for you. But yeah, it's sometimes I feel like, especially if you're on Mac. Are you on Mac?
No, I'm on Windows.
Huh, interesting. And you're using Chrome.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why it's not working. All my other extensions work, but the font ones are like, nope.
Interesting. Well, I'll tell you, that one is self modern regular. That one's Garamond Premiere Pro display, and that one's Garamond Premiere Pro. That looks
okay.
I know. Yeah. Pro. It's italic. But do this with other brands too.
Yeah.
And start getting some inspiration and then applying that to yours. So, but for now, I think that's enough. You know, getting some inspiration, bringing some more consistency, and then building more of the supportive keywords into your site. That's a good like next step for you. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, my pleasure. All right, we're going to keep rolling here. Now we've still got a few people we got to get to. So, getting back to my list. Let's see. Do we have Michelle? Because we've only got Michelle, Olga, and Casey, I believe. If there's anybody else that's joined in or anybody else I missed, let me know. Do we have those folks here? Is the question though. We've got Casey. What's up, Casey? Hanging out. Hey, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thanks for being so patient.
Oh yeah, no worries. I've been learning a lot by listening to everything else. So
well, that's what we love to hear. Yeah. So I know you need some help focusing on copy for your elopement page. So go ahead and bring that up and screen share it for me, and we will take a look.
Oh, okay. Is it working?
Yep. Oh, this looks great.
Thanks. I've changed like so much stuff, and then I feel like I've just changed so much since I'm switching over like my entire brand basically, and I've just been so overwhelmed.
It looks so good though.
Thanks. But I did have a question about these two sections that you're looking at right now.
Yep.
One of them maybe if I don't need the top one, or if I should move that somewhere else and just have like myself first. I don't.
Okay, well, let me make sure I understand. We're talking about this section first, right?
No, that one stays,
Okay.
but the next two,
This one.
this one and the one below it.
Okay. Talk to me about it. What about them?
I just don't know if I want, I don't know, should I put the one that's about me higher than that one? Because I
Well,
don't have like an elopement story, I guess, that I can tell.
Yeah.
So what I did is I kind of did this imagine thing, and then the part underneath it is a story about like kind of why I decided to do this, and then if that makes sense.
yeah. Okay.
I don't know if that's too many words. So I'm not sure.
I mean, I really love the story that you tell in here. You're painting a picture of a story. And I love that. The only thing I don't necessarily like about it is like introducing you, getting people to read about you. So you got creative here, and I actually really dig what you're doing with it. But then I have to think I have to in my mind go, okay, well, how do we then get them to start developing the picture of you in their mind? Now, this is going to help, but it's still.
If I should switch them, like put the
Yeah.
me on top above this imagine your wedding day thing.
What if here's just a thought, because again, like I actually kind of like what you're doing here, and I'd love to see how it pans out. I'm all for experimenting.
Okay.
What if we left this sort of open-ended, like sound like your dream wedding day? And then introduce yourself. Allow me to introduce myself.
Oh, okay. So get rid of
Then
the
just
button.
go into this.
Okay. Get rid of the button that says experience.
Yeah, but then make this go to the experience page.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
I feel like that works. That's like the easiest way to do it, and we'll see how people interact with that. But I like what you did. I think
Thank you.
You've got the principles down here, just a little bit of problem solving. This looks great.
Okay.
I'm so proud of you for like getting, because this is like all new. Is it
It is
not?
all new.
This is not all new.
Spending
It's
a
like
lot of
totally
time
new.
on this.
Yeah, no, this is pretty, because I remember what your site looked like. I need like a before and after here of what you've done, because this is pretty cool. You've gotten a lot done like quickly too.
Yeah, I've been working a lot of hours on this.
Yeah, no, I'm impressed.
Thank you. Yeah, and then so it's kind of still hard, but I am doing like some styled shoots in the next month, so I think that'll make it a lot easier for me to like change the pictures and make myself happier with the way it looks.
Yeah, but I mean, this is still great. I mean, this is great. This is great.
You. Okay, well, that's good. That'll be helpful. And then on the experience page itself, also, I have a little blurb about me at the top.
Mm-hmm. We'll go there, but let me ask you something first, if that's okay. Is there a reason why you might not use, say, like maybe this image for the first picture instead of that couple?
I thought about that, but it's not a horizontal photo, so it looked really.
No, not for the very first. I'm saying instead of this one. I'm sorry.
That one. Oh, yeah. I guess that would make sense.
I think it would be good to do that.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, if you've got a horizontal one, because I mean, this is more like, I could see this being more like engagement.
Yeah, I don't. That photo is from when that was a long time ago. I was like 18.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great photo. So I'm like, it's totally cool. But yeah, I think if you, I think it's a cool photo. I do think this one should be higher though, because I want people to start seeing like going, oh, that's an elopement.
Yeah.
And I know you're doing some like shoots coming up.
Yeah.
Make sure you get some horizontal photos, So, because the first one we see is great. Everything looks aesthetically great. It's just I tend to think that people respond better to
Yeah,
like if it's an elopement looking photo. But this is still good, so I'm not criticizing at all, but future reference. But this is the elopement experience page, right?
Yes.
So
Which
yeah,
has been
let's chat on
interesting
that.
Right, having to think about what I will be doing. But anyways,
Yep.
so this section, I just kind of, I don't know, I didn't really know what to put because I don't have a story about like what it's like
It's
to work.
okay. I know. It's like getting started is like when you're first getting into this sort of stuff, it's like that's the hardest part. Does this have like an overlay?
Maybe, I don't know, I can't, maybe.
It feels to me like this doesn't look consistent with your other work.
Okay.
It's not a bad photo, but it almost looks like it's got an overlay over it.
It might.
So,
I can go check.
Sometimes websites will do that by default, but you know what I'm saying? Almost look like it's got like a wash.
You're
Which
right.
if that's what you like, that's fine. But I'm just saying, as I look at it, I'm like, I'm a little bit, a lot, you know, like couples do notice consistency to a degree. And so like if they don't feel like, and this especially with higher end stuff, if something doesn't look like they know, like if it's outside the bounds of what they can reasonably expect from you, and it starts broadening what they think they might be receiving, then that expectation is dwindled and it becomes less like sure on what they're actually going to receive. So if that is just how it's edited, you know, I might, you know, try to make it a little bit more consistent, but if it's an overlay, just take that overlay off, which it kind of looks like it's got an overlay to me.
It might. I did notice that Squarespace keeps doing that to me automatically and I keep having to take it off. So that one I did in the beginning. So maybe I just didn't take it off. I don't know. This, yeah.
Just
then
number
I tried
this.
to.
Just number like 1, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying?
Number
like
them? Okay.
Number it so they know exactly like what comes when.
Which order to? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about the top part, but like I think this is fine for now.
Okay.
You know, we kind of have to work with what you got right now, right? So
Yeah.
I think this is fine. If you have a picture of you like holding a camera, this is a great photo.
But I can take one.
Yeah, you can get one. I mean, maybe just like Photoshop a camera there on the rock or something. You know? Just joking. But I mean, it's a great photo, so I can't complain about it. But yeah, I'd try to get one where you have a camera. I dig it.
Okay.
I think this is great. Especially, you know, you this is like very beginning stages. That's
right.
pretty good.
Yeah.
You may, you know, I know you're probably going to create some more resources, but you could always include a call to action here to like contact you, you know, ready to secure your date or something, you know, some sort of call to action below those resources for now. Same thing for any section. So like even this section, you can have a call to action here, you know, ready to secure your date, you know, ready to meet me. Same thing here and up here.
Okay. Thank you.
Sound good?
Yes.
And then I know you've already got SEO Quake open, so we'll take a look at. Is this for homepage? Are we on homepage? Yeah.
Yeah. I just realized while I was looking at it that I didn't change the metadata when I changed the site, so it still says family. So I need to fix that so that I don't use Google.
Right.
So I'll do that right after this. But
cool. And I'm looking at it on mine real quick too, because I can do it so much faster. What was the focus keyword? Was it California elopement photographer?
Yeah.
Okay. I see the 8 repeats. I know you're trying to hit density prominence. You probably use it less than that. So make sure you throw in some of the plurals. You can even replace maybe up to 4 of those if you want.
Plural, like photographers.
Photographers, California elopement photographers, photography.
Okay.
Elopement photographer, California. I think you already have that. Photographers, California. Photographers in California. Photography in California. Those variations, build those in. And again, like elopement photographer has a lot of repeats, but that's in several different ones. So yeah, but you can definitely take out a few of the repeats, and then if you've still got some other keywords supportive keywords you need to hit, go ahead and do that. But you've got enough repeats, you can use that a little bit less.
I noticed that the best ranking one was elopement photographer California, but that's a really awkward thing to like casually throw around on my website.
Yeah. That's where you just just slide it in where you can. Just slide it in where you can. 5, we got 5 clicks on it. This one has 34. Yeah, so this one's got the most. I just want to see if it was actually popping you up for anything yet.
It doesn't look like it has been. I last indexed it last Thursday and I haven't done it since, and I've done
okay.
So I should do that again.
Get the supportive keywords in there and then submit it to be indexed again. And then the only other big thing for you is going to be the backlinks.
Yes, I have not done that at all yet.
Yeah, do that sooner than later, because it always takes Google. It can take up to, I think that in the average, if you ask the interwebs, is like it can be 50 days.
Okay. For
them to find your backlinks. So you don't want to wait. Usually, our target range for people ranking is 30 to 90 days.
Okay.
So, if you wait and do it, 30 days in, and you don't already have some backlinks, and it's like you're really probably pushing your rankings towards the 90-day mark versus the 30, 60-day mark.
Okay.
So, but other than that, I think that's enough to cover for now. I'm very, very pleased with what you got going on there.
Yay.
Yeah, good job. Awesome. Well, and I think, so I just want to make sure, because I know we had a few people that weren't here. So, and I still want to try to answer as many questions as I can. So let me go back in to my list. All right. So I did have, let me double check, because I don't know that Ashton and Kevin had a question. I think they're focusing on backlinks right now. Kevin did send me a message and said that they made it to the top of page 2, which is great. Also said they just got named top 3 wedding photographers in Tulsa by Wedding Rule and were awarded an Editor's Choice Award completely unsolicited. Yeah, that's nice. It's kind of cool thing that can happen also. Like once you're ranking on Google, you tend to get more backlinks from people that are just like searching for stuff. Kind of a cool thing. That article's now #1 on organic on Google for our keyword listing over the Knot and Wedding Wire. Would love to know how an overnight article goes to #1 organic. Yeah, that's a good question. So basically, if an article's done really, really well, and if we had that article up, which might be a good thing for a future discussion inside a mastermind session, if it's done really, really well and it's a high volume thing and there was a need in that particular market for something like that based on what Google sees, then it can go up pretty quick. There's been times I've written articles that rank very quickly. I mean, sometimes in a couple days. So articles are a little bit different than like more competitive, like ranking for cities. Generally speaking, that can take quite a bit longer. And usually blog posts, I've never seen a blog post rank good for a city like that. So I don't know if that fully answers your question or not, but super excited to see that you guys made it to the top of page 2. It's pretty quick. I mean, I think that was after you've redesigned your website too. So pretty cool, quick results. Love hearing that. Moving down my list here. I've got Becca. Becca's question was check on flow in my experience page. So I can't, without you being in here, I can't necessarily see that, which I know you are making strides towards page 1 for several keywords. So I'm really excited to hear where you're at today, but I will go to your experience page, just take a look and see if there's anything that sticks out to me. But, if not, then I'd still love to help what I can. I know you've done this, you've done the storytelling. Love it. Just skimmed over that. And that, I think it sounds great. Love it. Good. I love the text. I think you've done such a good job on like a high end, very nice, balanced looking text. And just to kind of contrast what we were looking at with that like dress designer, the Christy Dawn. You know, Christy Dawn had like the larger text on top and then the smaller text. This is almost like a cinematic look. You'll see this in like movie credits and or intros or something, you know. So, and you also see this in like higher end brands. So, but this is a good example of like mimicking the type of branding that your ideal clients resonate with and are excited by. Okay, so I just want to point that out real quick. Looks good. Good use of call to action here. Featured galleries looks good. You can give description of these if you wanted to, like, you know, description of the couple, description of the wedding. Again, you don't have to, but if you wanted to, that would be it would allow you to put some more text in there. But again, not 100% necessary. Defining your couples. I dig this. I'm a big fan of this on your about page. Honestly, it's probably a thing that would be really, really good on an experience page. So again, is this a thing you have to do? No, but I think I dig this because I love it when couples come to me and they start telling me, oh yeah, I'm like this, and this. And they're basically just like trying hard not to pull quotes from my website. That means they're really bought in. Yeah, love that you mentioned the custom pricing, book your date. I might even in here put secure your date just because it has a better connotation to it. And it does very subtly create a picture of exclusivity. Okay. So not just exclusivity, but almost like momentum. Like they need to secure it, implying that someone else could, right? The date's not secure. Hey, you should secure your date. So if they're really bought into you, securing your date is it takes advantage of more FOMO, fear of missing out, than just book your date. So secure is both positive while invoking negative, which is more powerful from a sales standpoint. But yeah, this looks great. Love it. Love it. Again, maybe jump into another mastermind session. We can look more deeply in analytics and all that kind of stuff. But all things considered, I think that looks fantastic. Very good job. I'm going to go back into my list. All righty. I know Kinsey couldn't be here and she said to skip her, but I'll still take a look at your question, Kinsey, and see if we can dive into it. It says I'm seeing results. Oh, are you here?
Yes.
Okay. You messaged me and said you couldn't be here, right?
I know. I've been listening, and I actually have some time now. So.
Okay. Perfect. What a surprise! I'm like, oh my gosh, he's back. Okay. So let me pull your question again here. Seeing results for Lubbock, but all of the keywords are not top 100 yet. Should I be worried? No, don't be worried. It's pretty normal. But the question of, are there any additional steps you can take? Probably. So let me pull up your page, see what I notice. Generally speaking, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be supportive keywords or backlinks.
Okay. I did look on the search console for my backlinks, and a lot of them haven't shown up yet for what I've done recently. Is there like a certain time frame that I can expect those to show up?
The backlinks to show up?
Mm-hmm.
50 days is the SEO industry average. It could be sooner. It could be technically later.
Okay.
Just kind of depends. But 50 days, last I Google search, that's what the industry expectation is. Okay. Looking here at density was, let's see, Dallas wedding photographer is in there. You don't have Dallas wedding photographers.
I should. I don't.
It's telling me nope. Saying it's not there. Could it be wrong? Yes.
Oh, maybe it's wedding photographers in Dallas.
Probably. I do see Dallas wedding photography. You can even add variations like Dallas TX wedding photographer if you haven't.
Okay.
Dallas, Texas, which I think you have TX. You might have Texas. I don't know. Nope, no Texas. So you could even, about to sneeze. Excuse me. Thank you. You could throw Dallas, Texas wedding photographer in there. The wedding photographer in Dallas is there. Wedding photographers is there. Wedding photography in Dallas is there. So just maybe a couple of those other ones, and that would be real solid. What was your spearhead? Was it wedding photographer in Dallas?
Yes, Dallas TX.
Cool. Yeah. And you got 6 repeats. Prominence is really good. Density is fine. You could even take out maybe 1 or 2 of those if you felt like you're being spammy, just to get your other supportives in there. Other than that, that looks pretty good though. You want to screen share for me? And we'll take a quick look at analytics and Search Console.
Yes.
See if there's anything else.
I'm going to have to hop over to my computer. I'm on my phone.
Okay. That's fine. Is it going to take you a second? I mean, I can move on and come back.
You can hop on to somebody else. That's fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just let me know once you're back.
Okay.
So we've got, let's see, I've got Michelle. Michelle's question was not anything specific, but I know we want to take kind of a general look. Michelle, I'd love to dive into Google Search Console with you. And I know I know you're not here, but if next time we could get to it real quick and just take a deep look at Google Search Console to see what's going on, and kind of go through some more of your numbers. I think you've done a great job. You got the picture on there of you now. And I'll screen share just to show this real briefly. I'd be curious to see how people are interacting on Full Story with your site. Because I kind of want to know what they're doing here, right? And I want to help you with this particular section as well, with getting this more of a storytelling and then drawing people in to develop you as that unique character. I know you've got the experience page, but I'm really curious to see a little bit more in depth on how people are interacting with your website's homepage. This is it's one of those things that if we're not inside Google Search Console and analytics, it's kind of hard to tell for sure. But just looking at homepage, one thing we can double check on real quick is supportive keywords. Again, that is one of the most common things that we tend to see issues with. So I think the main keyword here was Toronto wedding photographer, which we see there. I think we got photography. Good. We have photographer, but not photographers. So I would add Toronto wedding photographers, wedding photographer. Toronto's there. Do we have photographers? No photographers. No wedding photographers. Toronto. No wedding photography. Toronto. So I would work on getting the other supportive keywords into your paragraphs and possibly H2s. That's going to help you a whole lot with ranking. So make sure you do that. I think we've covered some of that before. So I just want to make sure that, I reiterate that the supportive keyword structuring is incredibly important. So get those added in there. And then next session, I'd love to go deeper into, say, like Google Analytics and Search Console. I think we've got Kinsey back now. Kinsey, you're back?
Yes, I'm back.
All right, cool. Let's dive in.
Okay. I forgot how to screen share. There it is.
All right. Do you have Search Console open?
Yes.
Let's go there first. All right. And is this the version that's getting the most traffic to it?
I think so.
Let's go down the list just to be sure. Oh, that's blog. I don't want that one. Yeah. Oh, there we go. 110. So it looks like you're getting more traffic through this one. So I would use this one,
Okay.
including to submit to be indexed. Seeing the Lubbock pop up. I know you mentioned that. Lots of Lubbock.
Yeah, I'm ranking pretty well for Lubbock now.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you're on page 2, top of page 2. All right. right, let's go into analytics, site content, landing pages. We'll look at homepage. And let's broaden the window. 30-day. All right. Yeah, that's a freaky low bounce rate. Wait, oh, it didn't spread out yet. Here we go. What happened? There we go. Freaky low bounce rate and good session duration, so should be no issues there unless that's a glitch. You must have sprinkled some magic on there. Lots of people going to experience, so that's good. I would make sure from experience page you're directing them better to something other than homepage. So we kind of have to anticipate what they might be looking for there. So if they're going back to homepage, well, what are they doing next? About, so that's your about page, back to experience, senior stuff. So I don't know, maybe they're looking for senior stuff. Oop, is that me or you that's pulling that page over?
It's not me.
It wasn't me. I didn't think, but maybe it is. So, I would just watch some full stories and analyze more about that experience page and kind of think through like, all right, we got some people going to blog, some going to contact, but still most are going to homepage. So what are they the people that are doing that? Are they skipping over these other sections? Are they scrolling down, scrolling up?
Different stuff going on in full story. And a lot of it is like zero time.
Don't watch those. When you go into full story, you're going to sort it.
Mm-hmm.
So go into any user, any event, change this to visited page, and then choose your experience page if it shows up. It may not have populated. Are you on? What'd you switch to? You switched, right?
I switched to Show It. And that's my original domain that has been around forever.
Yeah, I mean, did you put the Show It code on every page?
Maybe. I think so.
I would, if you haven't put it on every page header. Mm-hmm. We've seen some people need to do this and others not. From what Show It said, it sounds like you really need to. Okay. But, you can come in here and we can use, if you don't see the page populating, we should still see some videos in here. Yeah. So looks like we are, and so I would here's somebody from Los Angeles, I would watch some of these and see, okay, especially the ones that have time. They've spent time. Like if it's like 5 seconds, don't worry about it. But I would watch some 30-second ones. I'd watch 3-minute ones and just see what they're doing and sort of analyze it. And I don't mind helping you with this, but I like to get your brain thinking about this first. So like next mastermind session, if you haven't figured out some stuff, I want to help you with that in particular. Okay. But it's less about like your user experience is good in terms of the metrics Google's looking at. But in terms of inquiries, we want to funnel more people to that contact form, right? And your experience page is looking like it's doing that pretty much better than any other. The only other place that they're hitting regularly is like just going straight from homepage to contact.
Okay. And I did add a wedding tab in addition to my experience, which is basically reiterating in a different form what is on my experience page to kind of negate that.
Where'd your website go? I was going to say, show it to me.
Right there.
Okay. So you got like weddings, but this is not your experience page.
No. So I have experience and then weddings, just kind of experimenting.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you think it does good, I'd go for it. If people aren't, if they go to it and they don't get to the contact page, then change it. But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this looks pretty good. So I just kind of figure out what they're doing. Watch a handful of full stories.
Okay.
And see what people are doing. And then we need to start thinking in terms of, well, what can get them to the contact page more?
Okay. Sounds good.
Usually the easiest option is just including more calls to action throughout the page.
Okay.
Through kind of like below each section. If you've got a behind the scenes photo of you, again, telling a story about how you saved the day, you can put a contact button under that.
Okay.
You're just giving it multiple chances to snag, the attention for the contact form. The place that, like one thing that well, I won't say that. We won't go there. This is probably enough for now. I'd start there, and then did you say you have gotten some backlinks already?
Yeah, I've been working on them. So I've gotten Wedding Chicks and then a few other big ones.
Okay.
Under there.
Still waiting on them show up. Yeah, I wouldn't be too freaked out about the Dallas stuff yet.
Okay.
I would get the support of
today. I think it increased by 25. So.
Oh, it increased by 25 today.
This morning. Yeah.
Oh, well, cool.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Get the supportive keywords in there.
Okay.
And then submit it to be indexed, and I would likely expect it to go up even more.
Okay. Sounds
You
good.
may see some up and down. It's pretty normal to go up and down, but
It's frustrating.
good seeing the movement stuff.
Cool.
I think we just, if we're good for now, Kenzie.
Yeah. Thank
I've
you.
got oh, you're welcome. I've got one. I think we just have one other person that I have to cover. Olga. I think just general feedback. Really want to be inside of Google Search Console. Let me see if there's anything I think we can cover. I'm just looking through here to see if there's anything that I see. I'm going to say probably the best thing for us to do, if there's nothing definitely in particular that you'd like me to review, then I'd say maybe we save it for next mastermind session. We go a little bit deeper. I know you're trying to rank for Myrtle Beach, so I'd be curious to see how you're doing for that. And then kind of make some suggestions from there. So I don't know if I have any particular suggestions right at this moment. I was trying to see if I could find out where you're at for Myrtle Beach real quick. So I was just Google searching. Because if I got an idea, then it'd be a lot easier to give some specific advice. Let me know. I might be skipping over your website, but I don't think I see you ranking for Myrtle Beach just yet. I think you mentioned that you were ranking for some other areas. But yeah, let's do another mastermind session and dive a little bit deeper into that. See what we can get you doing next. Really, really pumped to see you rank for some of those areas. You'd be one of the first people we've had in Myrtle Beach area. So that would be cool. So I definitely want to dive deeper with you on that. I think there might have, let me double check, because there might have been one other question that I missed here. We had one person actually did ask the question, when is a good time to target a second area for ranking? After I give you approval for first location. If your first location's good and we give thumbs up, then it's cool to move into duplicating that for other areas. So y'all, it's been a long day today. I think we got a lot of people signed up because I was going on vacation. So it's been a long one, but I hope everybody got a lot of good info for it. Thank you guys for being here, and hope everybody has a really, really, really good weekend. And yeah, that's about it. Appreciate you all. See you next time.